Hi guys, welcome back to Chris Cowlin's channel. This is the live watch-along between Southampton and Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League. An absolute cliche alert, six-pointer. I'm Barnaby Slater. I'm hosting all the live watch-alongs on Chris's channel now, but we are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitter, and Twitch. So if you're watching, please do get in the comments, and I will try and answer as many of your questions, and let's all engage with each other and get our thoughts together in what is going to be an incredibly difficult night for Tottenham Hotspur. I'm afraid I said it before the Chelsea game, I said it before the Fulham game, I said it before the Bournemouth game, and I said it before the Rangers game. I do not have a good feeling about this. I hope I'm completely wrong, but I fear Ange is going down swinging here because he has picked such a young side. We'll go into the team news in a second, but look, either I fear this could be the beginning of the end for Ange Postecoglou, or this could be maybe his Mauricio Pochettino moment, like we had away at Aston Villa back in the day when Harry Kane scored that header, because this is an out there team that he's picked with no defensive cover whatsoever in central midfield. This is definitely Ange going down in an Ange way, potentially. But let me know what you think in the comments, guys, of course. Also, please do give this video a like and press subscribe on Chris's channel if you're not already a subscriber of Chris's. He brings so much Tottenham Hotspur based content for you guys. It's at Chris Cowlin on YouTube. Make sure you give that a subscribe. Chris is also at the game tonight at the St Mary's, so do keep an eye on his channel for updates, little videos he's going to post along the way. And also delighted to announce that the Spurs Chat podcast, which is Chris's daily podcast, is a finalist at the Sports Podcast Awards 2025 in the category Best Team Podcast. You can vote for it by clicking on the link in the description box below. Chris really appreciates your support. The closing date is the 13th of January, and the winner will be announced on the 30th of January. And tonight, as ever, post-match, this is what will be happening. I will do the watch along for the game, and then straight after, I will do an instant match reaction, my thoughts on what's happened over the course of the 90 minutes. Then I will invite and speak to some Spurs fans from around the world. We'll get some fan chat to see how they feel about it. And then after that, at about 10 o'clock, the Spurs Chat podcast will be back, hosted by Craig Dearman, and he will be joined by Ricky Norwood, Becky Day, and Carl Jones. So that'll be a really good show. Make sure you hang around for that as well. But let's get into the teams. I'm sure you can see them on the screen. As I mentioned, a bit of a wild one from Ange, I have to say, but maybe he's, well, as we all know, he hasn't got loads and loads of options. But the team is as follows: Forster, Spence, Udogie, Dragoshin, Gray, Pape Matar, Lucas Bergvall, and James Maddison. And then Deki Kulusevski on the right, Sonny on the left, and Dominic Solanke starting again. The bench is lightweight, to say the least. Austin, Porro getting a rest tonight. Dorrington, King, Hardy, Olusesi, Timo Werner, much discussed. Brennan Johnson, who is rested tonight, and I think that's a good thing. He's looked incredibly leggy recently. And Will Lancashire. Let me know what you think of that team in the comments, guys, and we'll talk about it. Southampton's team: McCarthy, Carl Walker-Peters, Bednarak, Harwood-Bellis, Manning, Aribo, Downs, Fernandez, Dibbling, highly rated player, Tyler Dibbling, on Tottenham's list in terms of transfer possibilities as well. Sulemana and Armstrong up front. As for players on the bench for Southampton, players that I know about really: Adam Lallana and Ryan Fraser, and then some other players I don't know a great deal about. So first starts for Tottenham Hotspur for both Jed Spence and Lucas Bergvall. I personally feel, and let me know what you think in the comments, I feel like Bergvall is starting to understand it a bit. I've always thought he's an incredibly talented player, but he's starting to gain a little bit of confidence, take the ball on the half turn from the centre backs, drive forward through midfield, which is what we saw him doing in Sweden from all the clips before he came to Spurs. And do you know what he's really much better at than I expected? He reads the game really well in terms of intercepting passes and getting little foot in for tackles to win the ball back. And I think that's something that will have impressed Ange Postecoglou. It is worth saying, of course, not a great deal of options for Ange, considering both Bissouma and Bentancur are suspended. But this is an opportunity for Bergvall. And if he can play well, then there's no reason for me why he couldn't potentially replace Bissouma whilst Bentancur is away. Although I think potentially the Liverpool game is maybe Bentancur's last suspended game. Is that right? Let me know in the comments it was 7, but they were appealing, weren't they, to try and get one taken off that. But no, of course, the Man United one will be the last one for sure. Anyway, so Jed Spence also coming in today. Pedro Porro obviously got that talking to from Ange Postecoglou at the end of the previous game, and Porro has looked a little bit leggy. There'll be good options, Porro and Johnson from the bench in this game. Difficult game always in the Premier League, but a night game as well. Again, another night game away from home where you know the crowd are going to be bang up for it. And for me, and I said this to my mate, my old best mate, who's a Southampton fan. I said, look, if Southampton can do what clubs who have beaten Spurs can have done, then they have a great chance tonight, by which I mean going in really hard into 50-50s, winning first and second balls and getting in our faces, which has caused over and over again in the last 2 months Tottenham to collapse. Southampton like to play beautiful football, good football under Russell Martin, but if they can maybe change it up a bit and get in our faces, and that will cause us trouble. Like I mentioned at the top, just nothing defensive about that 3 in midfield at all. Bergvall, Maddison and Sarr. Is Sarr going to be asked to play the more 6 role? I don't think he should, because he's not brilliant taking the ball on the half turn. His first touch can sometimes be a bit heavy. He's not the most technically brilliant footballer when it comes to controlling and protecting the ball. And as a result, maybe Bergvall is the more likely to be kind of coming into that quarterback role. Be interesting to see what happens. I'm nervous. Let's get into the comments a little bit. Coke Cans says, great that Spence has finally been given a chance. I just hope he has a very good game. And if he doesn't, Ange doesn't make him a scapegoat. Well, Ange did say, didn't he, just a couple of weeks ago, as the teams come out onto the pitch, and Southampton have a big tifo, they're actually saying Pride of the South. Ange did say the other day that he feels Spence is ready to start for Tottenham Hotspur, but probably not play a number of games in a row. Well, I agree with you, Coke Can. Let's hope Spence can have a good game. But yeah, I don't know. It's just been a bad run. Confidence is low. And we all saw what happened at the Etihad earlier today. Manchester City, another team absolutely devoid of confidence at the moment, like we are, found a way to lose that game against Man United where they were under complete control. Tom Bowdler says in the comments, if we lose, then I still don't want or think that Ange will get sacked. But my goodness, the optics of the league table and pressure on the manager will be grim. Yeah, I think that's a really great point, Tom. And thank you so much for your message. I completely agree. I don't want Ange to go. And I don't think, from all of the stuff coming out today from a very respected journalist, David Ornstein, apparently the club are not looking to replace Ange Postecoglou at all. But the pressure from the fans, the external pressure, if he loses tonight at the St. Mary's, or even I think only gets a draw, will be very bad. Southampton are on 5 points. That is, I think, the joint lowest of any club under this after this amount of games, along with the Derby team, who are the lowest ever point scorers in a Premier League season. Now, that's not to say that Southampton have been being brushed aside easily in games or whipped, but they have, as Russell Martin said in his pre-match interview, actually, they've had problems in both boxes. Their distribution from the goalkeeper in trying to play it out a little bit too cutely has cost them a lot of goals. And then they've had big chances in games. They've won a lot of penalties. They missed a penalty against Manchester United. Tyler Dibbling is very dangerous in terms of winning penalties. So they've had more chances. Coke Can asking me to keep the faith says, I'm actually excited for the game tonight. Phil, we're going to win 3-1. Well, it seems very unlikely, excuse me, that we'll keep a clean sheet. But look, like I said, Ange, I feel like is under a lot of pressure here. And we've got to mention Archie Gray. He played, I think, okay at Rangers in the week in his first start centre-back, probably in professional football, certainly in competitive professional football. But this is the Premier League. This is different. There'll be a lot of pressure on that boy. The one thing I will say is we've got Solanke starting again. That's really positive, and we need to use him. And I don't just mean use him, by giving him the ball, but if necessary, chip in mid-range long balls into him. Don't muck around with it too much at the back, especially if you're Archie Gray. Get it up to Dominic Solanke because he holds it up so well, and that's something we really do have. Timo Werner is on the bench, and there's been obviously a big media storm around what Ange Postecoglou said about Timo after the last game. Really kind of seemed to really actually just throw him under a big bus, and I do feel like it was a bit like punching down, I have to say, from Ange Postecoglou, because you can tell with Werner, he's a trier, he's a good man, but he has no confidence whatsoever, just absolutely devoid of confidence. And therefore, to kind of really come out in the press, I think he's basically the first player that Ange Postecoglou has really come out in the press and had a go at in his Spurs time. So, yeah, that was a huge surprise to me. But there we go. The game is about to kick off. And let me just check that the clock kind of starts around the right time, my graphics. I'm on TNT Sports tonight. So any of you who were watching the other night on my feed, on the feed when I was watching the Rangers game and it was buffering, I'm hopeful that tonight won't buffer in the same way. And weirdly, yeah, the clock didn't start. So let's get going. Spurs start the possession with Dragusin, goes back to Forster, of course, is playing against his former team. Forster lays it into Bergwall, who does take up that position in the 6 and looked very keen to get it off Fraser Forster, which is a good start for Bergwall. He gave it out wide into Sarr, and Spence takes it further and beats his man. Great start from Jed Spence, and he's running in centrally now. Jed Spence puts in a good ball into Madison. Oh, what a start for Tottenham Hotspur, and what a start for Jed Spence. Oh, and the fans have been calling for Jed Spence for a couple of years now. And my God, he's going to be hard to dislodge now. That was unbelievable from Jed Spence. He got the ball from Pape Sarr in the right back, and he broke in central midfield past 3 men and slipped in a beautiful through ball to Madders. First minute, 1-0 Spurs. Wow. So Dragusin plays it to Sarr. He's kind of in the right back, and Spence is inverted, plays it into his feet. Instead of just easily going back, he rolls his man on the right-hand side, Spence, and then drives centrally. And then with the outside of his boot, it's a close one offside, but I think he'll be onside, and Madders finishes it one-on-one past the keeper. And that's great for James Maddison as well, because people have been having a go at Maddison. It's a good finish under the keeper. I have to say, I've been saying the whole time, you know, these managers, Conte, I'll tell you what, Southampton are dangerous in on the left-hand side now. The goal obviously has been given. Let me just see what happens with this attack. They're going to try and get across in. They're getting to the byline. They come back. Okay. They're just playing it backwards now, Southampton. You know, I've been saying, let's face it, these managers, they see Spence. They see him in training every day. So there must be a reason why he's not getting chances. But maybe he's one of those players who is a better game player. He was not a great trainer. It happens. Who is it that talked about? Eden Hazard. They're not similar players, obviously. But apparently he was the worst trainer. But what a player on the pitch. And Jed Spence, I'm sorry, he's just shown me the bravery and the technical ability to be a game changer in the first minute of his first start for Tottenham Hotspur. Come on, I said in the opening, could this be Ange's Pochettino game? Could it be? Get in the comments, guys. Get in the comments. What a great start for Spurs. Come on. A good clearing header from Spence. Up to Bergwall, who does brilliantly in central midfield. Gives it to Archie Gray, who chips a nice ball into Udogie, who goes back to Gray. Good stuff from Spurs here. And Gray goes back to Forster. Forster into Sarr, who comes into the 6 this time. That's good stuff between Sarr and Bergwall, taking it in turns to go into the 6. Sarr looks for Kulusevski, and that's a foul from behind on Kulusevski. And the ref really should... You're not allowed. The rules were changed 20 years ago. You're not allowed to slide in from behind like that, and it should be a booking, but it's not. Maybe he got a slight touch on the ball, and that helped the Southampton defender there. Just in the comments, Laren Deb, this is the way we started at Rangers. That's not true, because we didn't score the first goal in Rangers. Sonny on the left now. Just outside him, Madders slipped over. Puts in Sonny, trying to get to the byline. Coming backwards now, and Madders has someone behind him. He's taken out. We're on the left-hand touchline, by the way. Now Madders goes backwards to Gray, into Pape Sarr, who lays it out to the right-hand side, and Jed Spence, who gives it to Kulusevski and makes a secondary run outside him, and now inside him. Good stuff. Spence in a good position there. Gives it back to Decky. And now it comes to Pape Sarr. Comes narrow again, comes inside. Udogie, as Archie Gray takes the ball, Udogie goes inverted and Madders out to the left with Sonny outside him. Tottenham just moving Southampton side to side now. Dragusin, good ball. Out to Spence. Seeing a lot of the ball already, Jed. And he beats his man down the line again. And tries to take on another man, but doesn't quite beat him, unfortunately. There's a Southampton man down, but Pape Matar Sarr does well there. Fernandez is down, not quite sure why. And you can hear the Spurs fans chanting. Good start for them. Yeah, Samuel Shepard said, we didn't start Rangers full stop. Phil C, to be fair, Barnaby, you also said that this could be the end for Ange. Yes, I did. I do feel like this is a bit of a sliding doors moment. I like that the leaks coming from the club say that the club don't want to sack Ange. But listen, I think half the fan base, as Southampton take a long throw and Spence deals with it, half the fan base are starting to get frustrated with Ange Postecoglou. I don't think it's his fault, and I think it'll be the players really who decide it. Romero and Kulusevski, they just throw it over Spence's head here, and actually it was good strength from Spence, and Archie Gray clears up into Bergvall. Yeah, I don't think it's Ange's fault, but what are we? 13th. Forster with the ball now to Archie Gray. Archie Gray again playing on the left-hand side of the two centre-backs, leaving Dragishin on the right. Udogie into Son, who tried to play it into Bergvall inside, but didn't quite come off. But there would have been a lot of space there for Bergvall. Sonny, Southampton with Kyle Walker-Peters on the right now, and Sonny, I just thought maybe needed to work a bit harder there, but it's okay. He's taken up a decent position. Southampton getting their first little bit of possession here. Tottenham pressing them high, and Southampton have broken that little press there, and they're in at the box now. It's a great cross to the back post, and again, Spurs, as you'll hear me say so often, not defending our back post, but it comes back out to the 18-yard box and a bad ball into the box, and now Spurs trying to transition. Good ball from Sarr, and Solanke holds it up, brings in Kulusevski, who can't quite get a foot on it, and it goes out for a throw-in. Phil C asking for a second Spurs goal. Please do keep your comments coming in, guys, throughout this half. Don't forget, do subscribe to Chris's channel at Chris Cowan. And if you don't already subscribe to my channel, I'm trying to get to 12,000 subscribers. I'm only a couple of hundred off at Barnaby Slater _ for daily Spurs content on YouTube. Dragishin back to Forster. 6 minutes gone now. Forster plays it to Archie Gray. And back to Forster. Maddison just trying an outside of the boot ball into Solanke. And it's a foul on Solanke and Maddison. They've both gone down at the same time. Yeah, both Madders looks in pain. Solanke slowly getting to his feet. Oh, yeah, it was just as Maddison plays the ball with his outside of the boot into Solanke, he's chopped kind of on the top of his boot, but I think it was a Rebo. And then Solanke tries to hold it up and he gets a tackle in from behind. So it sounds like Southampton that's a third kind of big tackle that Southampton have put in. So it sounds like Russell Martin has said to them, we need you to get in their faces because that's what Tottenham don't love. Forster now plays a good ball into Bergvall, who plays it across to Dragishin. And Dragishin deals with it well because it was quite high. But that was good football from Spurs, just beating the little Southampton press there. Dragishin inside to Pape Matar Sarr. Looking for a big diag, Sarr. And he finds Son. That's beautiful. And Udogie is going to try and get outside Sonny here. This is good for Spurs. Going towards the box. Good stuff into Maddison. And then back to Udogie, who tries to find Son, but it's cut out. That's a shame. And Bergvall wins it back, though. And puts in Kulusevski now, who crosses it. And it's a corner to Spurs. Good stuff down the left. Put out by Flynn Downs, the ex-West Ham player. Archie Gray coming forward. He's so young, Archie Gray. Not only is he only 18, but he looks about 12. What an experience playing centre-back in the Premier League at the age of 18. Doesn't happen very often. Sonny is going to take this corner. It's going to be an in-swinger. Come on, Spurs. We've started making a few chances from attacking set pieces recently, but we haven't scored one. Here it comes. It's a deep one, and it's cleared just ahead of the keeper. Chance for Spence. Oh, he doesn't get hold of it, but here's Kulusevski, but it comes on his right. Tries to get a shot away, but again, comes to Spence outside the box, to Sarr. And he's going to open it out to Kulusevski, who will want to get it on his left foot and cross it, I would have thought. But that's blocked off, so it comes to Sarr. Sarr tries a little bit of a looped cross into Son. It comes all the way. Good chance for Son here to get to the byline, maybe. No, comes inside, takes a shot. Straight down the keeper's throat. And Spurs have won it high again. Son into Solanke, who dives there. And it's going to be a goal kick. And obviously Solanke, an ex-Bournemouth player, so getting a few boos there for being ex-Bournemouth and for diving. Hansy G saying Spence looks fresh. Agreed. Great start for him. Let's get him on the ball more. His confidence must be sky high. Southampton playing the ball out, but they do dink a ball into midfield, and Sarr came to Sarr and actually just played a bad touch. He tried to play a first-time ball on the volley and actually missed it completely, but managed to get it back, and so Spurs have it back in their back line. Dragoshin to Bergvall, who plays it out wide to Spence. Turns away. Goes back to Dragoshin, who's going to find Forster, and now Dragoshin and Gray have to give him an option. And Forster does find Dragoshin again. Dragoshin driving forward with the ball now. Sarr is now a little bit behind him, so that's an option out. So Dragoshin does well there. Finds Kulusevski into Madders, who dinks it over the top towards Spence, but Spence wasn't quite ready for it, so it goes all the way back to the keeper, and the keeper clears it first time. And it's a good pass, but not able to be kept on. And Ange keeps it off, gives it quickly to Sarr. Throw-in taken already. Good stuff from Spurs there. Little 1-2 after the throw-in, and the ball comes to Archie Gray. Udogie trying to make room for him, but it comes to the right again with Dragoshin, who finds Maddison. Inside to Spence. Lovely stuff. Little 1-2. And Madders tries the early cross. Oh, it comes to Sonny at the back post. 2-0 Tottenham. Come on, you Spurs. Son Heung-min, who's not been in great form. The ball came all the way across to him. Finishes with his left foot under the keeper. Come on. This is exactly what Tottenham needed. This is big. Let's get a third. Come on. Let's put them to the sword. Come on. Maddison involved. So Maddison on the right. Little 1-2 with Jed Spence involved again. Maddison this time. Early cross, and it's deflected at the front post, so it comes all the way to Son. A little back header at the front post from Southampton. Don't know what he's trying to do there. And Son just on the half volley, side foots it underneath. Exactly what we need. True Lotus says, get in there. Coke Can says, 100% Barnaby. Philly Hotspur says, boom. Phil C, well taken goal. Alan Marshall, as long as we win, hopefully that will lift us up to 10th. And then it would give us the confidence as well going into that huge Man United game in the week. Kulusevski now on the right, holding the ball up and driving and fouled. Come on, Tottenham. Come on. I'm loving this. You can only beat what's in front of you, but at the moment we started this game with exactly the right commitment, personality, wanting the ball all the time. Madder's now coming short in a bit of a dangerous area, but trying to get away from his... Oh, and it's beautiful ball into Sonny. He has to hold that up. Tries to beat his man and keeps the ball on. Does well. Well done, Sonny. Gives it into Bergvall. It was a difficult ball to deal with, but Bergvall deals with it beautifully. Come on, Lucas. And Madder's trying to chip one over the top now into Son. There's a lot on this, but we're in the byline now with Sonny on the left. He tries to go to the back post. Should be three. Should be three. It's three. Kulusevski. Oh, my word. This could be huge tonight. This could be huge. 3-0 up after 13 minutes. A beautiful ball over the top from Madders to Sonny, who picked out the perfect pass into the middle. Solanke couldn't finish it, and it rebounds out to Kulusevski, plants it home. Beautiful ball from Madders over the top. Absolutely beautiful. Too easy, you'd say, as a Southampton fan. The left-foot cross from Son, nearly finished by Solanke. Rebounds straight to Decky. And actually, Solanke puts his head in the air because he thinks he should have probably finished it himself, but it doesn't matter. 3-0 Tottenham Hotspur at the St. Mary's. Come on. Let's fucking put 9 past these. Fuck it. Yes, and Big Ange with the double fist. He needs this. We all need this. The COCOM's talking about this being a painful watch, but I do not care. And I think he's already made a sub. Has he? Yeah, Russell Martin's made a sub already. Who's he taken off there? He's taken off Sulemina and brought on Nathan Wood. Anyway, Southampton on the ball now going forward. And that's Tyler Dibling's first touch, I think. And he's tackled by Sarr. And gives the ball away to Kulusevski. Spurs in down the right now. Southampton do have bodies back, though. And he cuts it inside to Madders, who wants the ball every time now. Or Madders tried to play the through ball down the narrow right, but it was blocked out. Southampton go long this time. Bergvall, actually, and Fraser Forster clears that. But it bounces off Bergvall, goes off for a throw-in. But well dealt with from Fraser Forster there. Good starting position as Southampton played a ball through. Philly Hotspur says, Barnaby, love it, but let's get 9, baby. Yeah, I agree. Good header there from Udogie. And it comes to Bergvall, who plays it out wide to Spence, who started this game well. And Spence turns away and goes back to Forster. He's got a man covering. He might have to go long here, Fraser, and he does. Long into central midfield. Over Solanke's head. And Southampton pick it up in their back line. So far, goals for Son, Kulusevski, and Maddison. Exactly what we need. Good press there from Udogie. On the Southampton player claiming that he's injured, but I don't think he is. But Southampton do get a free kick this time. And on a day, a lovely ball from Southampton straight into Armstrong, who came really deep for that. And neither of the two Spurs centre backs came with him. And now Southampton are in down the right hand side. Beautiful cross from Dibbling. And Tottenham, as usual, did their defending on the 18-yard box. And I think it was Armstrong with the free header, but couldn't do anything with it. And actually, Spurs straight away looked like we might be in down the right. But that was Southampton's first chance. He must have been offside, I would have thought, with the way Spurs defend those. But it was a beautiful cross from Dibbling outside of the boot. Oh, and that's a foul there from Udogie. Southampton just having their best bit of play here. Should say, it was a beautiful cross from Tyler Dibbling. Have I been calling him Taylor Dibbling? If I am, apologise. Tyler Dibbling, outside of his left foot, beautiful. Spurs will have kept their line on the 18 yards, but they're not showing a replay as to whether Armstrong was onside or not. I would have thought he would have been offside, but he did in the end have a free header from about 11 yards and headed it straight at Forster. But here comes the free kick into the box. It's a good delivery, and Forster lets it run all the way out for a goal kick. Still 3-0 Tottenham Hotspur. Phil C says, don't take your foot off the throttle, Spurs. Completely agree. Lionheart, Spurs will lose 4-3. Samuel Shepherd, Lionheart on repeat. Yeah, well, all I'd say is, could Spurs concede 4? Yes, but I'm sure we'll make some other chances in this game as well. Dragishin now plays a lovely ball into Sarr. Oh, he slips it past his man. And if he can find Madders here, he doesn't. He chooses to go the other way and puts it beautifully ahead of Udogie to run onto. And Son has space on the left. Udogie into Son, and Son's running at the back line now. Inside to Madders, who's just outside the box. Lays it across to Decky, wanted a shot. Sarr wants a shot as well, but goes back to Decky. 18 yards out now, Decky. Goes on his right foot. Still got it, Decky. And it's a corner. Good stuff from Spurs on the transition. Tottenham, such a Jekyll and Hyde side. 1 week, beating Aston Villa 4-0. 1 week, beating Man City 4-0 away at the Etihad. Then a terrible run of games. Next, 3-0 up in 13 minutes at the St Mary's. They've taken the corner quickly. Into Son. He wants it on his left foot, and it's blocked. Comes out to Udogie. Back to Son. He's going to try and chip this to the far post. It's good clearing header from the Southampton centre-back. And then a secondary weird bit of defending where 50p's it. And it's a throw into Spurs. Good pressure from Bergvall. Takes the corner, the throw in quickly. Out to Udogie. And Madders now into Archie Gray, who goes back to Madders, who's marked, but he beats his man well. And then plays it inside to a doggy, and then it comes back to Madders, and now Madders is running narrow again and wins a free kick. And he wanted the free kick, and he got it. He just pulled his body across the man, initiated the contact, and went down. Very classic Madders. Yeah, it was a foul. It was a foul. It was just good play from Madders. This is a good opportunity for Spurs to kind of get an in-swinging ball towards the far stick. It's a free kick, probably 35 yards out. Chance to bend it towards the back stick. 20 minutes gone. Madders is on this free kick. Southampton have a very deep line here. If this was Spurs, they'd be defending on the 18-yard box, but they're defending more around the penalty spot. So Madders is going to whip it in towards the back stick. He just drives it towards the keeper, and it's a good clearing header from Southampton. Out to Jed Spence, who plays a good ball to Decky on the right. Spence with the return run. He's in a great position here, Spence. Does well, cuts back, and dinks it to the far stick. Son! Oh, Son had a volley, but here's the chance for Madders on the edge of the box. Oh, and he controlled it, and I don't know why he didn't hit it first time and hits it over the bar. Thought he would have hit that first time, Madders. Southampton were defending so deep there. It was kind of naive. In the end, it's 18 yards out from Madders, and he tries to place it into the far right-hand top corner. And you have to say Southampton are not winning any of the second balls now, and every time they do a replay, TNT, Spurs have the ball back. And there's Pape Matar Sarr getting a ball from Archie Gray, and that shows how Sarr's touch isn't great, because in the end it has to come all the way back to the keeper. And Southampton, Spurs clear it, and Southampton get the second ball this time. Oh, and that's a good ball for Southampton. And a great block from Dragishin as Southampton had a free cross there. And Udogie does brilliantly and will win a foul. Great stuff from Destiny, really protecting his side there in the left hand, in the left back position, right by the corner flag. Southampton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 3. 22 minutes gone, and they're showing Saints fans with their heads in their hands. Let's get the next one, though, Spurs. Let's get the next one. It's always key, the next one. And the Spurs away fans are having a lovely night so far, not like they were when they went down to Bournemouth. This will be far more enjoyable as Forster goes long with his goal kick up towards Sonny, but it goes straight out. Samuel Shepherd asks, thoughts on Reguilon? Think he'll get any game time this season? No, I think he's been told he won't. A Coke can, I agree with this. Dragishin growing confidence each game that passes. Yeah. Peter Gordon. I'm just going to read this out because Sonny looks like he might be a bit injured, so there's a little break in play. Peter Gordon, why the F? Is this even a thing? A watch-along that's just commentary? Just listen to the radio. Thought a watch-along was meant to be a group of fans enjoying the game. A watch-along can be whatever you want it to be, mate. And if you don't want to watch, that's fine too. Oh, dear. Love the internet. Anyway, the game starts again. Southampton go long down the line, but Pape Matar Sarr gets a good header in there. And Kulusevski pressing, but Southampton get away in their centre-back position, now into central midfield. And Spurs' press is pushing Southampton back again, and they go all the way back to McCarthy. And Sonny blocks off a cross pass there. And then Destiny tries the second one, and Walker-Peters in the end has to let it go out for a throw-in. Good press from Spurs there, knowing that McCarthy's distribution is not elite, to say the least. And the referee just having to get a little bit involved with a bit of a tetchy moment on the pitch there. Come on, Spurs. Let's just make this game a real proper confidence builder going into that quarter-final against Man United in the week. Man United, of course, just got that win at the Etihad, so their confidence will be raised too. But from everything I heard and saw, the little I saw, Man City were totally in control of that game and just in the end found a way to lose it. Good stuff between Spence and Sarr. And then Spence tries one thing too many maybe and gives the ball away. And Southampton have the ball in central midfield now. Plays it inside towards Dibbling, but Madders does brilliantly. Oh, but then the second one bounces back and it comes to Kyle Walker-Peters. That's a shame for Madders. He did the hard work there. Udogie does well on Walker-Peters. Really well. Beautiful from this Udogie. Now Spurs are breaking forward. And there are lots of options here. It's 4-on-4. Udogie, keep the ball. He gives it to Son. It's still 4-on-4 here. This is a really good chance for Spurs. Son cutting inside. Plays the ball out wide. Chance for Spurs here. Chance! It's 4! Pape Matar Sarr! Wow! Wow! Udogie nicked the ball off Kyle Walker-Peters. The Southampton fans are leaving at this stage. 25 minutes gone. Udogie did it all. Nicked it off Kyle Walker-Peters. Drove from the left-back position, getting narrower. As Southampton were left 4 against 4. Then it comes to Son on the left. He crosses it, and it comes into Sarr. Takes a brilliant first touch, bursting into the box. And his second touch, brilliant finish. Beautiful finish. So here it is, Udogie to Sonny, and he's driving at the back line. And he cuts inside on his right, and he looks for a ball, I think, to Sarr. Yeah, first touch, second touch beats a man. Third touch is a left foot finish past McCarthy. And the Spurs fans chanting, "Is there a fire drill?" And this is, like I said at the beginning of the game, a sliding doors potentially moment for Ange Postecoglou. And so far, it's looking like these players are not only playing for him, but playing these young boys. Spence has been involved. Bergvall has been involved. Sarr has been involved. Maybe this is exactly what happened, similarly to with Pochettino, where Pochettino bombed out the likes of Adebayor, the likes of Yunus Kabul, as Jed. Oh, God. Oh, God. Udogie has gone down. Udogie has gone down. Okay. Who have we got on the bench? Because we need to not take a risk with Udogie. We're 4-0 up. Will he bring Porro on and put Spence to the left? Maybe he will. Or at 4-0, is it time to give Dorrington a chance? At 4-0, could you give Dorrington a chance at centre-back and move Archie Gray to left-back? Or maybe move Archie Gray to right-back and move Spence to left-back and give Dorrington a... No, it's... He's going hard. He's bringing Porro on for Udogie. Another injury for Spurs. So it'll be Spence going to left back, which is a shame because he started so well at right back. Anyway, during that break in play, Russell Martin got his all his players around him. Let's go into the comments. Phil C says, bring on Lancashire for Solanke. Tom Bowdler, right, shut up, shop, Ange. I'm joking. Am I? I don't even know anymore. What a mad club. We are a mad club, Tom. Thank you for your comments, guys. Please keep your comments coming in. Let's keep the chat going as Southampton fans stream away from St. Mary's. Philly Hotspur says, OMG, can we catch a break? Completely agree with the injuries. Completely mad. I'm actually genuinely so pleased we got the 4th goal because, because I'm a Spurs fan. As Dragoshin does well down the line. And goes off for a Southampton throw. 28 minutes gone. Southampton 0. Tottenham Hotspur 4. And of course, the debate, as ever, about managers. Can you be attacking without, can you be attacking and win in the Premier League? And now Russell Martin's getting it, which is a relief for it not to be Ange for once. Anyway, the ball comes to Kyle Walker-Peters. Spurs have been unbelievably clinical this game, haven't they? Basically, everything that they've had has gone in pretty much, apart from maybe the one shot from Madders. Martin is shaking his head on the sidelines. Maddison fouled once again, this time by Dibbling. Madders plays the ball from the free kick first time out to Pedro Porro, who will have a point to prove as well, won't he? After he got a little ticking off for Big Ange at the end of the last game at Ibrox. Porro coming across the pitch now, finds Dragoshin. He's got an option in Bergvall. He's a clever boy when it comes to making space. He was tempted with a big diag there, but he goes easy and actually then drives at the Southampton defence, gives it into Kulusevski, tries to flick it down the line to Bergvall again, but it doesn't come off. And Southampton break that press quite well, and Porro gives away a foul. Coming up to the half-hour marker, Southampton go early, but Dragoshin wins it well. And back to Pape Matar Sarr. Him and Bergvall have so much space in the central midfield at the moment. As Sarr plays a bit of a heavy ball to Archie Gray, and he has to turn away back onto his right foot to give it to Forster. No, he doesn't go to Forster. He goes to Dragoshin all the way across. Bergvall. Oh, no. Bergvall made a secondary run there that Dragusin didn't see. And as a result, the ball was... Oh, and he's booking him for that. Deary me. Anyway, it's a free kick for Southampton, a chance for them to get it in the box. Yeah, so basically what happened was Dragusin had the ball under no pressure, and Bergvall was there, but he then made a secondary run to make some more space for him. And whilst he made that run, Dragusin played the ball, and as a result, it was intercepted. And his first touch was to take it round Bergvall as he kind of turned back, and he takes him out. For me, that's not a booking. Let me know what you think in the comments. I don't think that's a booking. It's his first foul. He doesn't, it's not an obvious transition, but the ref does give it. And now Southampton have a chance to get it in the box, and their centre halves are up. And it's Bednarak at 35, who's at the far post, unmarked, with Bergvall the closest player to him. And it comes all the way to Fraser Forster, who catches it easily. And Spence is on his left, and he gives it to Spence under a bit of pressure. And Spence now driving. And I love this about Spence. He just drives us into the space. He's got no one with him now, but he finds a beautiful ball to Sonny down the line. Sonny fronting up Kyle Walker-Peters. Comes back. That's good play. Matters. Always an option. Into Bergvall. And Bergvall plays it neatly just to Radu Dragusin, who plays it out wide to Pedro Porro now. And Porro goes down the line to Kulusevski, who takes it on the half turn nicely, goes back to Sarr. Tottenham just popping it about, trying to tire out Southampton here, and it might really affect them in the second half. Porro's going to cross this one. Oh, it's a miss from Southampton's centre half. Nearly dropped to Solanke. And a foul is given against Solanke. Not sure what happened there. So the ball comes in from Porro, and it's Bednarak, I think, just doesn't clear it. And that's right. Solanke just ends up standing on the foot of the centre half. And Solanke has to do his boots up. And to say that the Southampton crowd are not best pleased, I think, would be a bit of an understatement. But for me, it's difficult. Russell Martin brought you up. He's the reason you're in the Premier League. Don't get annoyed now that the Premier League is hard. Tottenham, who had before this game, had one of the best goal differences in the league, maybe we'll go to have the best goal difference in the league for a club who will be in 10th place at best at the end of the night. It's kind of amazing, isn't it? Porro is caught there. And Manning is driving, but Pape Matar helps Porro out, and it's a Southampton throw-in. And then Sarr kicks it into the crowd. I'm not sure why he did that, because he could get booked for that. But he doesn't, fortunately. It looked like he was trying to delay the restart to me, but anyway, I'm pleased for him to get a goal. I did say before the game, or at least I made a note of it, maybe I didn't say it, that I felt Sarr needed to have a big game tonight alongside Bergvall and Maddison in midfield, and he's made a good start. Oh, so we've given away another free kick in the right back position there. Sarr, I think, was nutmegged, and then Manning dives to the floor. Oh, he doesn't even touch him. He literally didn't even touch him. I mean, maybe you'd say clever play from Manning there, but anyway. A free chance to get a cross in for Southampton here. Bednarak's up there. Harold Bellis is up there. It's going to be an outswinger to the near post, and it's easily cleared by Solanke. I love the positions he takes up at the near post from set pieces. Southampton now. Solanke pressing. He played this quite nicely, Southampton down the left-hand side, but Sarr did well. And Madders gets a good touch on it, and Spurs are away again now through central midfield. And this is 3-on-2 for Tottenham, and Sonny's making an important run. Sonny is in on the left. Goes early, and it's tipped over the bar by the keeper. Good save from McCarthy. I'm glad Sonny went early. Shows he's got confidence. It was Madders who did beautifully down the middle. And what I'm pleased about that, even though he didn't score, Sonny took one touch and then a shot. He didn't try and bring it back onto his right foot. He knew that's where the chance was, and it's a decent save in the end. That shows that Sonny is back to confidence after scoring that goal. That really, hopefully, all being well, and hopefully he can remain fit, will bode well for the future of this season. Also, we've got to, of course, hope that Udogie is just a precaution. He was touching his thigh, and I hope he's okay, because we could really do with having Udogie fit for the Man United game in the week. And Bergvall has gone down in the box here. So the commentator's saying that Fernandes pushed him into the frame of the goal or something here. Let's have a look. Let's hope it's not embarrassing for Bergvall the way it was for Kyle Walker earlier in the Manchester derby. And Fernandes is being booked. Yeah, Fernandes pushes Bergvall into the post when Bergvall's trying to make a run inside the keeper. It was mad. That's Fernandes losing his mind a bit there. But anyway, Bergvall seems okay, so it's okay. Welcome to the men's room, Lucas Bergvall. Yeah, he's just saying to Fernandes, why did you do that? Anyway, Sonny with the in-swinging corner. One arm up. Does anyone know what that means? But here it comes. It's a good delivery, and Bergvall made the run across the front stick. He is surprisingly good in the air, Bergvall. Anyway, comes out to Kulusevski, who turns and gives it to Sonny down the line beautifully. Bergvall now has a chance. He might dig it. No, he doesn't. He gives it across to Porro, who goes to Sarr, who is fouled, but it comes to Madders, who dinks it over the top of the Southampton defence. Cleared, but comes out to Porro on the right-hand side, who goes back to Pape Matar, who lets the ball go a bit far there, weirdly, but Maddison gets it back and goes wide right again to Porro again, I think. Madders trying to find Bergvall. It was a little bit too easy in Southampton now on the transition, and Sarr might get booked if he's not careful. Oh, it's a good tackle, though, there. Really important tackle. I think maybe Madders on the floor, and Southampton have to go all the way back to McCarthy. Spurs have got the press on here. Walker-Peters under pressure. Spence put the press on him, and Southampton have to go long. And the first ball is won well by Lucas Bergvall, but Southampton pick up the second ball with Dibbling. But Spence working hard. Dibbling shoves him off. And they're in here, Southampton. But a beautiful tackle from Dragushin. It did hit his hand on the floor there, but not much he could do about it. And great hold-up play here from Solanke in the middle. He's going to win a foul, but he doesn't. He gives it to Porro. Beautiful, and that's what Spurs have now with Solanke. And I have to give credit to Dragushin there. Really beautiful tackle. Otherwise, Armstrong was in. Spurs popping it about. Madders into Bergvall. Bergvall does well, looking cultured. And he puts it ahead of Sonny. And Pape Matar's making a run for Sonny, but he stops that run. And it comes back to Bergvall, who plays inside to Madders, who turns away and brings it now to the right. No, Archie Gray, in fact, goes back to Maddison. Into Pape Sarr. And Jed Spence makes a run outside him. And Sarr, who's still playing pretty direct, but just isn't quite as comfortable on the left as he is on the right. And just tries to backheel it, but it's dealt with by Southampton. They're on their own byline here, and they have to go long. And Bergvall with a good first touch, good second touch, but then loses it. He could have done it easy there, Bergvall. He tried one touch too many. But Armstrong is a little on his own, but they play it out wide left. But Kulusevski working his butt off and wins a brilliant foul. What a player. And he doesn't complain about it. He's just like, and he's saying that's 4 times they've done that. But great defensive work from Deki Kulusevski, showing by his sheer running the other players, as actually Bergvall's just lost it again there. He's just having a difficult minute. He's trying to do the right thing, so I don't mind. But yeah, Deki just showing with his sheer commitment and running power, all the other players, what needs to be done. As Gray plays it to Maddison, and Madders under pressure just drops his shoulder and plays it into Spence. Spence goes back to Madders. Into Bergvall, who just pops it back to Gray. And Gray goes to Forster, and they're drawing out Dibbling. Forster goes to Dragushin. Sarr makes him a little inside run, but instead it goes to Porro on the right. Porro plays it nicely in to Solanke, who looks to dink it round the corner to Kulusevski, but the defender deals with it. And it comes to Southampton, who's centre back. Barwoodaz drives forward. Oh, and they're in here. Dibbling, good play here. He's on his own a little bit, though. Trying to turn Archie Gray, and they're in down the left here. It's going to be a chance for Southampton here. Should be a goal, and Armstrong has hit it wide. I don't know if he's offside, but it was a great chance. Let me see if this is offside. But he wouldn't have been offside. He should score. And Spurs can count themselves lucky there. And Forster goes onto his left foot to Bergvall, who goes back to Gray, who dinks. Spurs just getting a little bit complacent here as they play it into Spence, who has to use his strength. And in the end, Spurs hoik it out down the line and it goes off. Spurs are lucky there. That could have been 4-1 very easy. Armstrong actually very poor finish. Bergvall picks up the ball well there. Southampton tried to play it long into midfield, but Bergvall chested it down. And now Madders gets the ball in the quarterback role into Jed Spence on the left. Sonny is narrow, but that's where he finds him. And he can't hold it up, Sonny. And Southampton win it off him far too easily, and Sonny's frustrated. But Bergvall, like I said at the beginning, reads the game so well, drives forward, but Walker-Peters nicks it off him. And that's just where he's got to learn a little bit. He's got to get his ball off quicker. But he's reading the game well, Bergvall. It's so nice to see. Still raw, but it's so nice to see what he has. Southampton in down the right now with Walker-Peters giving it inside. But Jed Spence sees it and just shepherds it out. Keep those comments coming in, guys. Samuel Shepherd says, hopefully Spence for the Man. I'm playing for the United game. Playing the Man United game. Great energy, tall and strong, but still very quick, creative too. Phil C says Bergvall will learn. I agree. Hansy G says good play. JDMC says Gray looks the goods playing centrally. It's early days. Deki Kulusevski gives it away there, but Porro steals it off Southampton well. And now Spurs are about 4-on-3 again. Oh, and Porro tried to get the cross all the way to Sonny, but didn't make it. Bounces to Sarr, though, who finds Madders in a good position. And Son's got loads of space on the left. And once again, it's Son one-on-one with KWP. There he goes to the outside chance. Hits it onto the near post, and it's saved. And he should have probably crossed it across the box. Well, how can that not be a corner? How can that not be a corner? He's not given a corner, but it's clearly been saved at the near post. Oh, the referee is embarrassing. He's just saved it at the near post. Not given a corner. That's inexplicable from the referee. But Sonny there, he was in the left foot. He was very close to the goal, so you can see why he just tried to power it with his left foot. But really, he should have just whacked it across the box where you would have thought Solanke would have been to tap it home. Sarr now, down the line towards Solanke, challenging. It goes all the way back to McCarthy. And McCarthy actually plays it bravely there, down the middle. And they try the ball over the top, but Porro's in a good position. And shows his skill to just hold the ball, let Dragishin get into a good position, who gives it to Sarr, back to Porro. Back to Dragishin. We've got 2 minutes and added time, of which I doubt there'll be that much left of this half, into Jed Spence from Archie Gray, who gives it back to Madders, who gives it back to Spence, who's under pressure again, goes back to Madders. Spurs popping it about in a dangerous area here. Sarr being very dangerous indeed, but gets it down the line into Spence again, and still Spurs just drawing on this press. And if they manage to score a goal from here, it would be really incredible. It goes to Gray, to Dragishin. Dragishin plays it inside to Porro. Look, if Spurs score from this, it will be unbelievable. Porro plays it to Kulusevski, and Bergvall's high up the pitch with them as well. Kulusevski driving inside into some space. He plays it across to Son. This would be unbelievable. But Son went too early, and he didn't even get the ball out of his feet, and it's easily saved. That's such a shame from Sonny, because he had more space, I think, than he thought he had. And if he just got the ball out of his feet, he could have either shot it then with his left foot or brought it back onto his right foot for an easy chance. But in the end, it was caught under his feet when he took his left foot shot. And in the end, just to repeat saying in the end, it was easily saved by McCarthy. But that was beautiful football from Spurs from their own box. And Spence is working hard here. And he's a big boy, Spence, isn't he, in terms of his height and his strength. And it won't harm us at all to have a bit more height on the pitch. Southampton get it all the way across to their left-hand side here. And they play a mid-range ball inside. This is good football from Southampton, but Spence does beautifully ahead of Dibbling. And it breaks to Porro. He's got a man on. Goes to Kulusevski. 4 added minutes, actually. That's more than I expected. Can we get a 5th? And we're in down the right with Kulusevski, who cuts inside easily. Both Sonny and Solanke made the same run, so Kulusevski has to turn away, and he brings it back to Spence, who finds Maddison, who's just enjoying this game at kind of a half pace, really, trying to draw on Southampton. Spurs know that Southampton have to come to them. Although you wouldn't be surprised if in the second half Southampton really tried to shut up shop, really. Anyway, Sarr to Porro. He gives it down the line to Kulusevski, tries to back flick it, and it's a throw to Spurs. Dragishin to Archie Gray. To Maddison, who just has all the time in the world in this game. Finds Sonny. Sonny starts this out wide, goes back to Maddison, who brings it across to Sarr and gets it back off him straight again. He looks in the mood tonight, Madders. Finds Spence now. Could have gone down the line to Son, but doesn't. Comes back to Madders. Dragishin. Madders just wants the ball all the time now. Lays it out to Porro. Goes back to Dragishin. Into Gray. 46 minutes gone. Archie Gray rolls his foot over the ball, gives it to Sarr, who turns his man well, but it was a little dangerous looking. But a good ball from Porro now out to Kulusevski. And Sarr is gone. He's gone with him. Kulusevski. He's down the line. So Kulu gives it to Sarr, who comes inside to Bergvall. He's got a man on him, but he pops it off first time. And now it comes across to Archie Gray, and Jed Spence gives him an option. And Spence gives it to Sonny and goes with the run outside him. And Spence is now at the byline. Cuts it back. It's not a great cut back, I have to say. Kulusevski had. And beautiful from Solanke there, whose foul is given against him, but he was pressing. Good stuff. But Spence in a great position down there, but just didn't quite get enough on the cutback. Kulusevski was there for a potential shot, but it never made it to him. Guys, don't forget, please do subscribe to Chris Cowlin's YouTube channel, at Chris Cowlin, and to mine, at Barnaby Slater _ for daily Spurs content on my channel. But also, the Spurs Chat podcast will be here at about 10 o'clock tonight. Craig Dearman hosting. So make sure after this game, stay tuned for me, because I'll do an instant match reaction. And then I will also be talking to a number of Spurs fans from around the world. But then at about 10 o'clock, Craig Dearman will be hosting the Spurs Chat podcast with guests. So make sure you stay tuned to Chris Cowlin's channel. As Southampton play a ball over the top, and it's dealt with by Porro, and Fraser Forster comes to get the second ball. 48 minutes, so just less than 1 minute of this first half, which frankly could not have gone better. As Sarr finds Madders, and Madders goes back to the keeper, and Russell Martin is already making his way to Southampton changing room, and I imagine he's going to go absolutely ballistic. And the Spurs fans sing England's #1 to Fraser Forster. Bergvall's done okay in this half. I like how much he wants the ball. I really do. He's got good balance about him. As Spurs just pop it around. It's about 15 seconds left till half time. I don't think we'll make another chance now, although Gray finds Jed Spence on the left and he's driving forward. Finds Sonny outside him. This has been very familiar. And Madders has made a run, and Madders is in at the byline. Oh, and he cuts in. Oh, my God, it's 5-0. Come on, you Spurs. Wow, what a finish. James Maddison. Wow. It was an unbelievable pass. Outside of the boot from Sonny, I think. Yeah. Maddison made a run to the left byline. And then as he reaches the byline, the Southampton player slides in and he cuts it back onto his right foot. And similar to the goal he almost scored the other week at Bournemouth, going for that top corner, this time he makes it. Let's just check for offside. No, he's not offside. And that is half time. And there are huge boos at the St. Mary's. And if I'm not mistaken, Southampton have conceded 9 twice in the Premier League in the last few years. And Spurs are 5-0 up at half time. And I think they've conceded 9 at least one of those times, maybe both those times, at the St. Mary's. Tottenham Hotspur are 5-0 up at half-time at the St. Mary's in a game that I, at the start of this stream, said I really feared for. And Sonny, of course, is hugging Kyle Walker-Peters as he goes off. Wow, the goals. Maddison, Sarr, Son, Kulusevski. Wow, wow, wow. Absolutely amazing. I'm going to take you through what happened in that first half. Let me just check that the scoreboard is turned off, though, first, guys. Yeah, 1 second. So, the first goal came in the first minute. Jed Spence was absolutely unbelievable. He takes the ball in the inverted right hand, in the inverted right back position, and basically turns away from his first man. Then, with his pace, driving narrow, beats 2 other Southampton defenders, slips in James Maddison, who's one-on-one, finishes beautifully underneath McCarthy. 1-0 in the first minute, exactly the start that Tottenham Hotspur needed. And the first 5 minutes, we were comfortable, popping it about. Then, in the 8th minute, we got a first corner, and because we got it from winning the ball high from Southampton, which has been a cornerstone of this performance so far, just endlessly winning the press and nicking the ball high. And every time, I've mentioned it already, but I'll mention it again. Every time TNT Sports have shown a replay, by the time that replay is over, Spurs have the ball back again. And that is something that usually happens the other way. In the 9th minute, Sonny had a great shot from the left, cutting inside, but he drives it straight at McCarthy. Then in the 11th minute, 2-0, and Sonny's first goal in a while, and an important one. Or at least a first important one in a while. He got a consolation, didn't he, the other night against Chelsea. James Maddison had the cross on the right and just got a little deflection off a Southampton defender, comes all the way across to Son, and on the half volley, he just hits it in with his side foot under the keeper. 13th minute, 3-0, Deki Kulusevski. James Maddison played a beautiful ball over the top to Sonny in on the left, and Sonny has the freedom of Southampton tonight. So much time down the left. And Sonny's cross nearly gets to Solanke. Solanke arguably maybe could score, should score, good defending, but the rebound from that defending comes out to Deki Kulusevski. All he has to do is put it into an empty net. 3-0, 13 minutes. Then, the 17th minute, Southampton had the first chance. A free header for Armstrong, but heads it straight at the keeper from a beautiful cross with the outside of his boot from Tyler Dibbling, who's, he's not really been involved in the game, but you can see he's got a bit of class. 20th minute, Maddison had a chance from 18 yards out when Spurs had really made Southampton go deep. Comes out to Maddison. I thought he might hit it first time. He doesn't, takes a touch and tries to bend it into the top corner, but it goes over. 4-0 comes on the 24th minute. Pape Matasar, and this one came from Destiny Udogie, who sadly just after had to come off with yet another injury for Tottenham Hotspur. But he did brilliantly in the left-hand side, and it then comes across from Sonny. So basically, Udogie drove forward from the left-hand side, slips in Son on the left. Sonny crosses it, and Pape Matsar, his first touch to bring it into the box is beautiful. Takes a second touch around a man and slots it home with his left foot. 2 minutes later, Udogie went off, so Porro comes on. Jed Spence went to left back. Bergvall was booked in the 29th minute. For me, not a booking. His first foul of the game. It came because he wasn't really in the right position as a result of being given a bad pass. And for me, not a booking, but never mind. 33rd minute, Son was through on goal from a transition. He just took a touch and an early shot with his left foot, which was important, really important for Sonny's form, showing that he's got his confidence back to take that one early, because he easily could have tried to bring it back on his right foot, but it was tipped over by McCarthy. 37th minute, an amazing tackle from Radu Dragusin, because otherwise Armstrong would have been through on goal. And Dragusin's looked good, so has Archie Gray. 39th minute, Southampton's best chance of the half. Should have scored, in fact. Good play from Dibbling, holding it up, beating men, then slips it into the left-hand side. The fullback gets to the byline, cuts it across to Armstrong. First time, should finish it, but hits it wide. 42nd minute, Sonny gets in down the left again. He's had so much time. Hits it to the near post, but it's saved by McCarthy. Referee doesn't see that he saved it. He thinks it's hit the post and gives a goal kick. Then in the 44th minute, absolutely beautiful football from Tottenham. They're in their own like left back spot by the corner flag, and they're playing it in a really dangerous area, popping it about. And I said, whilst it was really dangerous, I was like, if we manage to score from here, it would be an unbelievable goal. And they get out of the press, bring it to the right-hand side, comes narrow through Kulusevski, I think it was, and eventually comes to Sonny, and he's inside the box. And he had so much time, and actually he could have got the ball properly out of his feet, but he didn't. He tried to take the shot early, and it was caught under his feet a bit. It went straight at the keeper. And then in added time, the last seconds of added time, of which there were 4 minutes, Sonny plays a beautiful ball with the outside of his boot to James Maddison, who's at the byline. And all the Southampton players think he's going to cross it, he pulls it back onto his right foot from an acute angle, chips it into the top right-hand corner. What a performance. The first time in Premier League history that Spurs have scored 5 goals in a half. And I'll say it, even I don't think Tottenham can fuck this up from here. Just before I get back into the comments, guys, and please do send in your comments. We've got to enjoy these kind of games because we do not get enough of them. Before I do, please make sure you do subscribe to Chris Cowlin's YouTube channel, what we're on now, at Chris Cowlin. Give him a subscribe. He produces so much Spurs content for you. Also, do like this video. If you haven't liked this video, please do. Let's get it seen by as many Spurs fans as possible. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. Get involved in the comments. And then after this game, I will do an instant match reaction. Then I will be talking to Spurs fans from around the world, and I'm excited about that for once. Not since the Man City game have I been excited to talk to other Spurs fans, but now I am. And then after that, at 10 o'clock, Craig Dearman will be hosting the Spurs Chat podcast, and he'll be joined by, I hope, an ecstatic Ricky Norwood, Becky Day, and Carl Jones. Okay, so let's get into the comments. And I'll just put the volume on to hear what Crouchy and Joe Cole are saying in the pundit box. And actually, they've got Aaron Ramsdale with them, the ex-Arsenal and now Southampton goalkeeper, who's not playing today, and he is deflated to say the least. And this could be his 3rd relegation, couldn't it? Alex Kumi in the comments says, prediction, 8-1. G Moore, loving Ange, come on you Spurs. Lane Onto says, please bring on the young ones. And Mace106 says, it's all great and all, but how bad have Southampton been? Yeah, they have been bad, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And also, no one else has destroyed Southampton like this. And the key for us is we've got a Carabao Cup quarter-final in the week. And is this a good time to get our confidence back? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. TSOM, Ange Forever, laughing face. Darrell, Madders has been class so far. Mark Pitts, looks like it might be an empty stadium soon. Yeah, good point. Jack Legros, thank you for your comment, mate. Bergvall, Gray and Spence played well this half. I agree. Look, Bergvall is by no means the finished article, but he keeps trying things. He keeps wanting the ball. And I think it can only bode well for the future. TSOM says that Samba football at the back was so awesome. I wish Sonny had finished that. I agree. We've been talking about it for years. I agree. I said it when we were back in our left back spot. I said, oh my God, if we could find a way out of this press and score from here, it would be one of the great goals of our time. Sean says, back on track. Come on, people. Have you seen our injuries now? Yeah, we do need to talk about Destiny Udogie. What an absolute nightmare for him to feel his thigh. Let's hope it's just a precaution and maybe some tiredness or something. But we need this so bad. Peter Crouch, the first one to say here in the studio, we have to applaud Tottenham's play as well. Saying that Maddison has epitomised how good they've been. And Ramsdale saying you have to applaud the Tottenham players. We've been absolutely clinical. And I have to say, we've all heard, haven't we, since Ange joined Tottenham Hotspur, that there would be a game where suddenly everything clicks and you blow Southampton, you blow a team away. And maybe that is this game. Lane Onto says, hope Udogie is just tired. Yeah, I agree. G Moore says, I can't believe there are some fans still trying to play this down. Didn't think I'd be blocking those today. Patch Thomas, Spencer's been awesome. Great assist. I agree. He's looked incredibly good. And I said it. Let me know what you think. Is it possible he's just one of those players who is like a game player? He's so much better when he's actually playing than he is in training. And therefore, he needs more chances. And actually, let's face it, with Udogie going off with an injury, you've got to think it's most likely Spencer will start against Manchester United. Plush Teddy, thank you for writing in. Narrative with Spurs. When we lose, everybody talks about how bad we are. When we win, everybody's talking about how bad the other team is. Why is that always with our team? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's just the realities of modern internet-based fandom. I don't know. Patch Thomas says, no, this is exactly the game where we don't need Timo. Moldy Pickle, need an early goal second half to put this to bed. Tie-dye, hope Solanke gets a chance to score, yeah, but his hold-up play is so brilliant. For me, it's not that he misses loads of chances. He had those two kind of half chances against Bournemouth in the first half, but the first one, I remember the ball wouldn't come to him. He's a good finisher, Solanke, and he will get his goals. Don't you worry about that. The key for Solanke is we need him to stay fit. And actually, I would be tempted if I was Ange with Man United in the week to bring on Will Lancashire. I really would. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Altair says, Spurs 9, Wigan 1. Let's go for the record. Kurt Shara, thanks for your comment. John Zygon, not bad having a training run with all these injuries. Toxic Spursy supporters like you are the problem and always find someone to drag the club down. All right, let's not have any negativity, guys. We're here. It's 5-0 at halftime in a Premier League game away from home. And bear in mind, Spurs haven't won an easy away game. I say easy. We haven't won a game we're expected to win away from home for almost a year. Almost a year. Yeah, I've just got a text from my mate because I texted him just before the game saying that midfield is absolutely zero defensive interest. It's going to be really something. And he replied, my friend Joey Page, just saying that's why it's 4-0. Yeah, Joey, and now 5-0. Really, really good. Really, really not good. What a night. Carity says, put this to bed. It's 5-0. What are you talking about, lol? Yeah, Philly Hotspur says, let's go for 10. Come on, guys. Keep getting your comments in. Really enjoying this stream so far. I really hope that we can continue to score goals. We've moved around Southampton all game. When it gets to 60 minutes and the game starts to open up, how tired could they be? Let me know in the comments. Would you bring on Will Lancashire now and say to Dom Solanke, I know you haven't scored and I'm sorry, but we need you. We need you for Man United at your absolute best. So just get your little coat on, wrap yourself in cotton wool, and chill out for the next 45 minutes. That's what I think. Sarah Jones says, I think we win 8-0 or 7-0. Shravan, says, get Will on now. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Oh, guys, what a time. What an absolute time. I'm just going to flick onto Twitter and see what the Spurs Twitterati are saying. Yeah, some Spurs fans going in on Southampton, which I don't think is right. It's difficult when you've been promoted. Let's have a look. Invert the wing doing his usual mad stuff. Someone has brilliantly they've photoshopped Jed Spence's picture on top of Harry Kane at the Harry Kane mural outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Someone's posted a mug with Ange Postecoglou on saying it's just who we are, mate. Billy T, great tweeter, has tweeted 11th and top scorers in the league is the most Tottenham thing imaginable. Yeah, listen, it's a weird season so far, but and look, it's true. This is not, this is not really the, the standard of team we're going to be playing against all the time. But let's just allow ourselves to enjoy tonight and just be like, could we go on a run now? Could we go on a run and at the same time some of our injured players start coming back? Could we beat Man United in the week, go through to the semi-finals of the League Cup, and then give Liverpool an absolute nightmare next week? Could we? Could we? Thank you, Shravan. Says Barnaby is the best. Really enjoy your show. I appreciate that, guys. Please do. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, there it is in the bottom left, at Barnaby Slater _ on YouTube. I'm getting close to 12,000 subscribers. I want to get over it. So please do give me a subscribe and I'll bring you daily Tottenham Hotspur content, interviews with other Spurs fans. And as we get close to the transfer window, also regular transfer videos. Please also, of course, make sure if you're not already subscribed to Chris Cowlin. And as I said, Craig Dearman will be here with the Spurs Chat podcast at 10 o'clock. But after this game, as Steve Dyer, in fact, says, what we like to see, a happy Barnaby. Yeah, agreed. After this game, as they show so many Southampton fans outside the stadium. And weirdly, they're not even standing. Maybe that's the smoking area outside the stadium. Yeah, just want to be able to enjoy this game and then potentially go on a bit of a run. Brennan Johnson is coming on this second half. Someone said in the comments that it might be for Sonny. Let's have a look. I think we're going to need Brennan in the week, so let's see what happens. Yeah, Sonny off. I guess I'm hopeful that that's because Ange has been managing Sonny's minutes all season. Sonny got 2 assists and a goal. And the game has started again. Dragishin with the header. Bergvall nicks in ahead and does well. And Sarr nicks in with a good touch there as well. And Spurs win the ball back and it goes to Dragishin. Be interesting to see how Southampton approach this second half. Jed Spence now. Goes back again to Archie Gray. He's looked so comfortable, hasn't he? I've been thinking about Archie Gray. And for those of you, as Jed Spence drives down the left, I love this from Spence. He is deceptively quick, Jed Spence. Anyway, the ball comes back to James Maddison. I've been thinking, for those of you a little bit of an older vintage, maybe Archie Gray might be the next Gary Mabbott. Gary Mabbott came from Bristol Rovers, I think in the very early 80s, maybe even late 70s. And he ended up playing for Spurs for so many years. And he started as a midfielder and ended as a centre-half and played everywhere in between. And Archie Gray, who was bought as a central midfielder, has played for us at right back, left back, now centre-half. And Gary Mabbott, maybe that's you. Maybe you're the next Gary Mabbott, Archie Gray. He was a great, great servant for Spurs. Became Spurs captain. When I started properly supporting Spurs in the late 80s, Mabbott was our captain. And in turn, Mabbott was really the next Steve Perryman, who was a player around in the 60s and 70s, who's Spurs' record appearance maker. And they're showing the seats at the St. Mary's, and maybe a lot of them are still in the bar, but it's very empty and quiet. And Spurs just knocking it around. Madders on the left-hand side, back to Gray. Oh, and the Spurs away fans are chanting the Ange Postecoglou chant. So that is a far cry from the Bournemouth game just a couple of weeks ago, where they were, not all of them, obviously, but, you know, he got a fair bit of abuse, very personal abuse from those Spurs fans. And as he said in the interview after, I took that feedback on board. Lovely. Okay, Porro down the right. Goes off for throw-in. Gray to Maddison, who's picking up that kind of left-sided midfield position quite a lot to give options to Archie Gray. But really, Madders is just playing free roll across that midfield, popping up everywhere. He had a great first half, didn't he? Spence now goes back to Gray as they're trying to draw Southampton out, Spurs, really. Armstrong presses Dragishin, but he plays it to the right to Kulusevski, who was slow there and it's picked off easily. And this is 3-on-3 for Southampton. Spence getting back. Gets himself in a good position. Kulusevski works hard as well. Oh, but they're in now. Very fortunately, Southampton. And then the Southampton player goes over asking for a penalty. Bizarre bit of play there. And Spence has gone down. I wonder if he got one in the groin there, Spence. Yeah, he just looks like the ball maybe bounced up into his groin. But he worked hard to get back there, Spence. And I, for one, am here for it. Oh, no, he got a little tap in the head, Spence. And it's weird that the ref didn't call it for a foul. That's never a penalty, Dragishin on the Southampton player. Spence working hard. This could be a huge game in Jed Spence's career, and I really hope that he's given more opportunities, because I really like the look of him on the pitch. All I can think is that he must be a better player than he on matches than he is a trainer. Well played from Solanke to Kulusevski, who plays a good ball, and it nearly got through to Maddison, but there wasn't quite enough on it. Bednarak blocked it out. That would have been Madders through on goal for his potential trick. Brennan Johnson has started on the left-hand side, by the way. And Dibbling here is taking on Spence, who tackles him well. Come on, Spurs. 49 minutes gone. Not much happened in the first 5 minutes of the second half. This can happen in games where there's a big lead after the first half, that there aren't any goals in the second half. I'm hoping it's not the case as Southampton get in behind, and Maddison's going to get booked for that. We should get booked. Yeah, he should do, yeah. It was a booking. He stopped a transition. Still, Southampton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 5. And Southampton with Fernandes are going to use this as an opportunity to get the ball into the box. They put Bednarak forward and Howard Bellis. And they're being marked by small men at the back stick, as ever with Spurs. And actually, the ball comes to Bergvall on his own back line. He tries to take it on. That's complacent. And Spurs get lucky. They clear it again. But he's got to be a little less complacent there, Bergvall, and just play it easy. And Southampton get a cross in. And here we go with Maddison. A chance for Spurs here to get forward. Kulusevski is one-on-one. He needs help at the far post from Johnson, who is sprinting to try and get there. But it's held up by Walker-Peters. And Kulusevski, he's got 4 men around him, Kulusevski, so he goes backwards. That was actually well defended by Southampton on the transition there. Johnson was busting his gut to try and get across to the far post. And now Spence finds Johnson. Of course, Spence and Johnson played together on the right-hand side of Nottingham Forest's promotion-winning team a few years ago. But they're on the left-hand side today as Sarr plays the ball across to Pedro Porro. Kulusevski comes narrow for him, so he goes backwards. Back to Dragishin, who comes across to Archie Gray. To Spence. I really hope Big Ange, as who was that? Johnson played a poor ball there and it's been picked off. But Spence working his nuts off, Jed Spence. Wow, that is the kind. He won the ball back. That can absolutely make fans love you. Really worked so hard. He like a 40-yard backward run there and gets his toe in. And that really helped out Brennan Johnson, who played a bad ball, as Bergvall gets away from his presser. Really great from Spence. Good lad. I was just saying at the time, I hope Ange comes out in the press afterwards and says how great Spence was. I really do, because this has been an unbelievable performance as Gray finds Spence on the left flank again. Gray to Dragishin, who goes back to Gray. Dragishin, lovely ball into Madders with a lot of space in central midfield. And Aribo, who's the nearest Madders, is not running hard at the moment. Madders makes another foul in central midfield. And don't forget, he's been booked, so he needs to be careful. That was just like a clash of bodies. Just quickly get into the comments. Yeah, Samuel Shepherd, exactly why I hope Spence starts against Man United. Great work ethic. Sarah Jones, what a tackle, Spence. G. Moore, we need to wrap Spence in cotton wool as he had an injury not so long ago. Yeah, he's played really well. Southampton driving narrow from the left back spot there and plays it in. He's offside here, Armstrong, but he's one-on-one. Let's see what happens. It's wide, but he was definitely offside. Yeah, he was offside. Oh, it wasn't that offside, actually. Bergvall gets the ball off Spence and comes round to the right-hand side to Dragishin, who plays it to Porro, who goes back to Dragishin, who plays it across to Gray. And there's been a lot of this in the first 8 minutes of the second half. We get it wide to Spence, who again, because he's got no natural balance on his left-hand side, does have to come backwards to Gray, who goes to Forster. Solanke holds it up and gives it to Porro, who plays it over the top of the fullback, trying to find Kulusevski. But the fullback does well and gets it back to McCarthy. McCarthy plays it short. Solanke pressing. Johnson pressing Walker-Peters. And Spence gets an important foot in. Wow, Spence. Spurs have it back with Bergvall because of Jed Spence. And now Jed Spence gets it back off Bergvall and finds Johnson on the left. Goes inside. Another difficult ball, and Kulusevski loses it. Southampton have the ball now on the right-hand side. Spurs yet to really make a chance in this second half. Comes to the left back. Southampton just popping it about now. Southampton try and play it into midfield. Bit of a heavy touch. Goes back to the centre half. Spurs just pushing up the pitch, trying to get their press on. But it comes all the way to the right-hand side and Southampton have space out there. And Armstrong making another run inside. He's in here, Armstrong. Forster, good positioning. Oh, I'll tell you what, Decky was nearly in there. Ball over the top. There was so much on it that goes out for a goal kick. But if there was less on it for Madison, Kulusevski had the whole space of the St Mary's of their half, of Southampton's half. Southampton play it short and break the press with relative ease, as both Johnson and Madison were drawn to the same kind of position. And Southampton dink it over the back in the left back position, but Pape Matar is in a good place there and cuts it inside to find Dragoshin, who finds Porro. He's always brave on it, Pedro. Gives it into Decky, who turns beautifully down the line. Oh, and then tries to nutmeg his man, but goes off for a throw-in. Please do, as ever, guys, get your comments in. Please like this video. Let's get as many likes as we can on YouTube. Do press that like button if you haven't already. And subscribe to Chris Cowlin's YouTube channel, at Chris Cowlin, if you're not already. And mine as well, at Barnaby Slater _ for daily Spurs content, as Dragoshin lays it out to Archie Gray. Jed Spence now gives it to Brennan Johnson, goes for the return. There's a bit much on the return, so it's defended well. Southampton keep the ball. Bergvall looking to help with the press there. It's turned away from him by Dibbling. He's a lovely balanced player. Spence did well there, though. Oh, and Johnson nearly won it high up for Spurs. Flynn Downs there. He's fouled by Solanke. I didn't think he was, actually, and nor did Solanke. Southampton about to make a substitution. I think it'll be their second. Oh, and a Spurs player's been booked there. Brennan Johnson. What was that for? Must have been for kicking the ball away, because didn't see anything there at all. Southampton are getting more possession here. I wonder if, in a way, Spurs may be allowing them to have a bit more possession in the hope that they get a bit brave, come forward, and we can just pick them off. It looks like Johnson's gone across to the right. Yeah, Kulusevski on the left for a little bit. Not a lot going on in this game at the moment. Southampton just popping it about. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Phil C says no point in going full gas. Phil also says silly yellow Brennan. Michael Zeng says hopes for Kulu Lancashire for Solanke in the 60th minute. Timo Werner for Kulu. Philly Hotspur says Mathers looks gassed now. I think they're just honestly at the moment just kind of drawing Southampton on a little bit. They played a good ball in there though, Southampton. They're in on the left-hand side. Sarr is there. Porro comes back, comes to the right-hand side now. And a chance for Walker-Peters on the right. He's got a man running outside him. It comes back to Dibbling. He's got the gait of a taller Jack Grealish, Tyler Dibbling. Kind of short socks, or socks rolled down, sorry. Bednarak tries to dink it up, but Spence does well. Bergvall needs to get rid of it, and does. Well, I wonder if Ange would have preferred him to be a little braver on the ball there, but Porro flicks it on. Southampton win the ball back. They're in the left wing position now. Southampton play a good ball into Kyle Walker-Peters here, and that's a good sliding tackle to knock it out for a corner by Archie Gray. 59 minutes gone. Half an hour left. Bit of a quiet second half, I guess, to be expected, perhaps after the first half. But Tottenham just letting Southampton have a lot of the ball at this point. And Southampton are going to do play an in-swinging corner, and they're trying to get bodies around Fraser Forster. The Southampton fans are pretty loud at the moment, which is good. It's going to be a free header here for Southampton. Chance at the back post, cleared by Spurs. And it's a bit of loads of bodies just outside the box here, and it's cleared by Sarr. Goes to the... Porro is going to see this out for a goal kick, I would have thought. It's a goal kick. Manning should be booked for that. That's dissent. So Southampton with their second sub. 61 minutes gone. Forster plays it to Archie Gray. Yeah, Southampton just kind of sitting back now when Spurs have the ball. Armstrong is working hard. Archie Gray has it again. Plays it to Spence, who is always a willing option on the left. But has to, as ever, come kind of back onto his right foot if he doesn't have Johnson outside him. Because he doesn't have the left foot to go down the line. And if you're late arriving to this stream, Destiny Doggy was playing really well. Unfortunately, felt something in his thigh, so went off. Spence has it again, and this time he tries a little dink over the top and nearly finds Maddison. Decent defending in the end, and that's a corner to Spurs. And Madders just complaining to someone at the back that maybe they didn't see a run he made. It's a corner to Spurs, and they were looking to potentially take it short, but Southampton have sent 2 men to defend it, so it looks like Madders is going to whip one in. Spurs have bodies around the keeper. Dragusin trying to get free, and it's cleared by Southampton. Kulusevski's on the edge of the box. Finds Maddison. He's fouled there, Kulusevski, and it's a deep cross straight into the keeper's arms. I think we'd rather the foul out there. Thanks, ref. We didn't get it, and Southampton roll it short. Fair play to the Southampton fans, chanting. Spurs just a little slow on the press this half so far, but Brennan Fernandez manages to keep the ball. Southampton in a good position here, actually. They have 2 out wide right. Dibling's running inside narrow here. Oh, he's going to have a dig, and why not? And it's actually really well blocked. Not sure if it was by Dragusin or by Spence, but Spence calmly steers the ball away as Kulusevski then kicks it off down the line. .64 minutes gone. Southampton have had 76% possession over the last 5 minutes, but to be honest, you can kind of understand with the amount of games that Spurs have had to play and will continue to have to play for the rest of December, you kind of understand why we'd press off the gas a little bit at this point. But also, there will, I'm sure, be opportunities to try and transition as Southampton come forward. Such a Jekyll and Hyde team, Spurs, though. Wow. The amount of goals we scored, but still going to only be in 10th place. Southampton just popping it about in midfield now. There's a chance for a shot outside the box, but no, it comes to Walker-Peters on the left, and he would love to score against Spurs. Has a dig, near post, side netting. Pedro Porro fronting him up, and it goes through Porro's legs, so that would have made it difficult for Forster at the near post. Had it been on target, I don't think he would have saved it. Dragishin now. Plays it out wide. Not wide, sorry, but to Archie Gray. And it does go out wide to Jed Spence. Dragishin. Plays to Pedro Porro. Porro goes down the line towards Johnson. Oh, it does well. Could have won a foul there, maybe. Gets a throw instead. Can he take it early? And he waits for Porro. Porro with the throw. 66 minutes gone. Johnson gives it back to Porro. Bergvall, who hasn't seen a lot of the ball in the last 10, 15 minutes or so, goes backwards towards Gray, who opens it out to Spence, who's being pressed this time. So has to go back to Gray, who's also being pressed. He gets fouled by Armstrong, uses his body well there, Archie Gray. Here comes Bergvall. Plays it wide to Porro, who will give it back to Bergvall. He goes back to Dragishin. Gray to Sarr. And this time Kulusevski tried to turn it down the line, or turn down the line with a Cruyff turn, but blocked out for a throw-in. Jed Spence just getting a little bit of instruction on the sideline as well as a drink. Dragishin. And Dragishin tries to dink over the top this time, and that is solely because Maddison had a go at him for not doing that last time. And it was easily defended by Forest, who are now on the ball in midfield with Flynn Downs. Yeah, the co-commentator there just agreeing with me about Spurs probably conserving a bit of energy this half because of all the games we've played and will continue to play. We have Liverpool and Forest next in our next 2 Premier League games. But of course, the Carabao Cup quarter-final on Thursday before then. Manchester United at home. United have just beaten Man City. Forest. Southampton have the ball on the right now. Quite a boring second half. That's why I'm yawning, I'm sure. But 5-0 up, so you don't really care that much. Chance for Southampton to get to the byline here. And Spence blocks it out for a corner. Well done, Jed Spence, who just, is just stretching off a bit of cramp there. He hasn't played 68 minutes of a game for a fair while, it's fair to say. He is a player who kind of looks tired, just the way he walks sometimes, but he's had a really good game for Spurs tonight, Jed Spence. I'm impressed. It's going to be an out-swinging corner from Fernandes. Come on, Tottenham, stay strong here. Comes deep to the back stick. Free header. Goes backwards, actually. Southampton have the ball on the left now. Dink to the back stick. It's a good chance, Southampton here. And it's wide. Really good chance from only about 6 yards out, but it's a tight angle and it goes wide. Spurs, as ever, not marking their back post at all. Bergvall just brings it narrow, beats a man in central midfield, lays it out to Porro, gives him another second run, but comes back. Stats at the moment: 16 attempts Spurs, 5 Southampton, 8 on target for Spurs, 1 Southampton, 5-0. Spence this time tries to go down the line, but Dibbling does well, but then Spence keeps going well himself and gives away a foul. Sonny on the bench there. Son Heung-min is now the equal highest assist maker in Premier League history for Tottenham Hotspur, alongside Shaggy himself. Old sick note, Darren Anderton. Just 6 ahead. They're both on 68 assists. 6 ahead of Christian Eriksen, who for me was the best number 10 Spurs have had in terms of a pure attacking midfield player. Dragoshin wins the header. Southampton win the second ball. Walker-Peters does well there, but Pape Matar Sarr picks it up off him, and then Walker-Peters fouls him, but Sarr uses his strength to get away from him. Bergvall gives it back to Sarr now as we go towards the left-hand side and slow it down. Plays it into Kulusevski, gives it back to Spence. Gives it to Gray. To Drag. Just 20 minutes of this game left now. It's been a bit of a damp squib in the second half. Can't complain, but wanted so much more. But, you know, it does make sense if you think about all the games. Bergvall out to Spence. Sarr back to Gray. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. No one says good morning from Australia. Lane Onto says subs ? Stuart Wheeler, when does the second half start? Oh, it's not half time, sorry. It's supposed to do the time on its own. So annoying. Okay, what are we on? 72. Apologies about the scoreboard, guys. It's supposed to do it on its own, but it doesn't. I don't know why. Alfie Dorrington is coming on for Spurs. That's exciting. I'd bring Lancashire on as well. Hopefully he is. There's a lot of movement out on that subs bench. It'd be good to bring on some players who really want to make something happen with some legs. Brennan Johnson now driving at their fullback. Walker-Peters. Well, it's a good cross from Johnson, and Solanke kind of dived in the box. Madders gets it well out to Kulusevski here. He's on his wrong side. Kulusevski tries to find Madders, but it's easily defended, and Southampton bring it out. Sarr's got to be careful here. Does get a good foot on the ball. Spence looked like he was fouled, but Dibbling is now free on the right. Driving at Archie Gray. Oh, and he has a dig. Of course he does, and it goes down straight down Forster's throat. Porro goes for a big one straight down the middle towards Solanke, and that's easily defended. Back to McCarthy. So, it's Werner and Dorrington coming on. Southampton playing quite deep now, so I don't think Werner's going to get much chance. Who do you think he'll take off? Kulusevski, maybe? Southampton just breaking Spurs' press quite nicely there. Oh, Dibbling. He loves using the outside of his boot. He's a cultured little player, Dibbling. Good battle there. Kulusevski does well. Can he cut it inside? Oh, he does, but not enough on it to Solanke. Porro wins it up high, but it just bounces away to him and Downs deals with it. That's what stopped really the second half. Spurs have, I guess, because Southampton have stopped really trying to press high and work hard, just to try and keep it as low as scoring game as possible in the second half. But as a result, Spurs haven't been winning the ball up high at all, really. But in the first half, we really did, and just had so much time on the ball, especially Son Heung-min. Sarr pressing, Johnson and Solanke pressing, but they played the big old get-out ball across their back line and do it well. Southampton on the right now. Well, it's a relief at the moment that Southampton haven't done to us what Newcastle once did to Arsenal, which was Arsenal were 4-0 up at St James's at half-time, and Newcastle found a way back to draw 4-4, as I remember. Czech Tiote, I think, with the equalising goal, if memory serves. As Archie Gray plays it to Jed Spence, who's being pressed quite hard, gives it back to Gray, who dinks it down the line towards Kulusevski, but it goes off, and this is where the subs will be made. 75 minutes. Maddison coming off. He wanted his hat-trick, but as ever, always being brought off early. That must be a fitness thing, you know. But he got 2 goals, Maddison. His first half performance was so good. And Fraser Forster gets the captain's armband. And Alfie Dorrington, only 19 years old, on for Jed Spence, who's done brilliantly. So you'd think Archie Gray would go to left back. Well played, Jed Spence. Well played, my boy. He was feeling a bit of cramp, so that makes sense. Dorrington on. He's a big old unit, Dorrington, chewing a bit of gum. Hint of ginger about him, which, of course, I don't mind at all. Dorrington with his first touch, and he shows composure on the ball to go back to Forster. He's just slipped in at the left centre-back there, Dorrington, and Archie Gray's gone to left-back. So many youngsters on this pitch. Werner gets his first touch and, of course, gives it away, but works hard. But no, gave it away, and Southampton now have the ball. Brennan Johnson does well there. Porro flicks it down the line, but Kulusevski can't get there. Or maybe? No, not quite. Alfie Dorrington is from Enfield, a proper local Spurs boy. Good lad. 19 years old, highly rated in the academy. Got an unfortunate injury last season, which kind of stunted his progress a little bit, but now he makes his first team debut. And Brennan Johnson wins the ball there. Porro turns away, but straight into Kyle Walker-Peters and loses the ball. And this is a big chance for Southampton. And Dragshin holds him up well, dinked to the back post and cleared well by Werner, helping his mates out. Good for him. Southampton win it on the edge. And Dibbling has another dig. And it's wide. Just wide, though. It had the keeper scrambling. Just came to him outside the box on his left foot. It started wide and it's curling wider, actually. So Forster just double-checking more than anything else. Tyler Dibbling, of course, he's been at Southampton most of his career, but he did get oh dear, Dorrington just gave it straight away, and Southampton are in at the back post, and they've scored. And he's offside, thank God, because that saves Alfie Dorrington, who literally just passed it straight to them, and then they scored from it. That would have been a nightmare for him, and he had his head in his hands. Let's check it is offside. And he is offside, and that's actually good defending from Dorrington, who kept his line. Give the ball straight to Dorrington now, just so that he can get his foot back on it. But instead, Forster goes long to Timo Werner, which is never going to happen. Oh, and Spence with a crunching tackle there. Good to see. Jesus, Chelsea 2-0 up against Brentford, so they're going, what, second in the league? Sarr into Dorrington, who puts a good, brave pass across to Radu Dragishin. I'm pleased for him. He was doing what he was asked to do when he played a bad pass, which was get it in between the lines. As we just try and play it down the line, but well defended by Bednarek. Johnson fouls Downs. Oh, this is 80 minutes gone. This has been, I'm sorry, I don't care because we're 5-0 up, but it's been a very boring second half. Tremendously boring. I guess you can't have everything. Had all our fun in the first half, and boy, what fun. Don't forget, guys, I will be doing an instant match reaction straight after this game, and then I'll be talking to Spurs fans from around the world. And then after that, Craig Dearman will be here at about 10 o'clock with the Spurs Chat podcast. Southampton breaks Spurs' press, but Solanke does well, gives away another free kick. You're going to give away free kicks when you press as hard as Dom Solanke. Let's have a look at the other scores. Obviously, we know Chelsea are winning 2-0. Harwood Bellis is complaining. He's injured. Oh, yeah, it's only Chelsea playing at the same time right now. Come on, Spurs. Let's get one more goal. Why not? Southampton making some more subs, and Will Lancashire is going to come on for Spurs as well. How good would it be if Lancashire could get his first Premier League goal here? He did, of course, score in the Europa League, a good finish, away at Galatasaray. What a place. So this would be big. And it is Solanke going off, and he deserves a bit of a rest. Worked hard. Unfortunate that we didn't really make him any chances. Oh, the one chance just before the Kulusevski goal. But anyway, Southampton have the ball again, and Solanke, Lancashire will want to work hard as Southampton go for a big one over the top. Forster should have this on the bounce, and he does. And he wants to throw it out quickly to Bergvall. Takes it on the half turn and then turns again. Well done, Lucas. Plays it in to Archie Gray. A severe lack of balance on the left-hand side for Spurs, though, as Dorrington finds Forster, who finds Dragishin on the right, and Porro's there for him as well. He needs an option now, Porro. And he dinks one into midfield to Bergvall. It's a beautiful pass from Porro. That's what he's so good at. Bergvall finds Dorrington now on the left-hand side, who opens it out to Timo Werner on the left. And he's happy to drive down the line. Good lad. And plays it inside to Archie Gray. Into Pape Matar and Dragishin. He's had a good game. Plays a good ball out to Brennan Johnson there. And he's running now at Kyle Walker-Peters. He goes backwards, plays it into Kulusevski, who doesn't give him the 1-2, brings it back to Porro. And Spurs just popping it about again. Dorrington into Bergvall. Such a young team on display tonight. Think about it. Bergvall, Dorrington, Lucas Gray, Archie Gray, Pape Matar, Lucas Bergvall. And then as we get further forward, a bit more age on. Will Lancashire makes a good run here. And actually, he's out-experienced, I'd say, there. Centre-back by Bednarek, I think it was. Or maybe not, actually. But Lancashire made a good willing run in behind, and then he was just kind of out-muscled in the end. Southampton do well to play it down the line. Pape Matar hasn't stopped running. I'm sure Maddison will basically get man of the match for his 2 goals in his first half performance, but Sarr has not stopped running in this game. As we press Southampton, Lancashire working hard. And they chip it into midfield. Bergvall is there, and Dorrington sweeps up, gives it to Gray, who first time goes to Werner, and Gray keeps on running. And Werner gives it to him. Of course he does. And Gray goes for the early cross, and it's a good cross as well. And Brennan Johnson is out-muscled at the back stick, and so Kyle Walker-Peters gets the ball. Southampton bring it out. and play it across their line. And Werner's got the press on here, but Southampton do well. That's Russell Martin ball right there. Just 5 minutes or so to go. Don't forget, guys, straight after this game, I will be doing an instant match reaction, as ever. Southampton just having the ball. Come on, Spurs. Just make yourselves one more chance. That's what would be good. Oh, yes. Good stuff from Spurs. They've won it high for the first time this half. Kulusevski running at them. Brendan Johnson on the right takes a heavy touch and has to take a cross. And it is blocked for a corner. That was in a position where Brennan Johnson is usually very comfortable with his first touch and finish. And Bergvall has a bit of cramp, and that's not surprise, really. He's never played this much in the Premier League. And he's got a cramp in both legs, and Dorrington's having to help him out. He's had a good game, Bergvall. Pleased for him. Pape Matsar, though, still running hard as Spurs have the corner. Ange looking a little thoughtful on the sidelines. Took the corner quickly. Sarr's outside the box and he has a dig. And it's straight down McCarthy's throat. Didn't really get hold of it. Johnson's done well there. Gives it back to Porro. Bergvall's inside him, but I think with Porro knowing about he's just had cramp, he plays it back instead, and now Dorrington has it on the left. Tell you what Dorrington really does have is he has the body for a centre-half. Lovely stuff from Kulusevski. Oh, he flicked it round the corner beautifully to Lancashire, and Lancashire tried to give it straight back to him, but didn't get enough on the pass. And then, of course, Lancashire is working hard to try and win it back, but it comes to Southampton's Tyler Dibbling. He's certainly been their most exciting player. Cuts inside again. Pape Matsar gets his body there. Southampton keep it. Southampton bring it to the left-hand side now with Kyle Walker-Peters. Don't forget, guys, I'll be doing my instant match reaction straight after this game, then talking to Spurs fans from around the world, and then at 10 o'clock. Oh, Brentford have got a late goal against Chelsea. Well done, Dragishin there. Finds it to Sarr. And Spurs are on the break here, and Werner's made a good run out wide. Southampton players have gone with him, but Archie Gray's gone outside him. Now, can Werner find Decky? Oh, no. He plays a terrible cross instead. That was mad. What's he trying there? Doesn't help himself, old Timo. But yes, and then Craig Dearman will be on this channel with the Spurs chat podcast about 10 o'clock. Dibbling has the ball now. He's going to have another dig, is he? No, he's driving into the box, and he gets to the byline here. Porro got in a good position, so he had to come back onto his... and go backwards and find his man, Walker-Peters. Will Lancashire is the direct opposite of Tyler Dibbling in that he wears his socks unbelievably high. Anyway, Southampton in on the right here, but well blocked that cross by Werner, but he doesn't know where the ball is. And a good shot, just blocked. And another shot blocked. And it goes straight down the throat. The next shot into Fraser Forster's arms. Maddison has been given the player of the match, not surprisingly. Spurs just knocking the ball around here. Not really made any chances. Not any good chances in the second half. Just taking their breather. And they will be thoroughly delighted with their trip to the South Coast. Not much excitement to be said to just be back in 10th place, but it could have been so much worse. And at least now we can really just look ahead to this Carabao Cup game on. Well played, Pape Matsar in midfield, wins it. But I was just saying we can look forward to the Carabao Cup tie. And Saab drives forward and puts in Werner, who's getting to the byline. This is what he is. Go at Johnson. Oh, and Johnson's missed an open goal. Johnson should score. Beautiful from Werner. It was the classic Johnson goal. Oh, he was offside anyway. Johnson did what Johnson does. Werner with a great cross from the left-hand side. Johnson comes in at the back post and he should score, but he just doesn't get enough on it and it bounces straight over the bar. 3 minutes added time and we're into them already. You don't go away from home in the Premier League and win 5-0 very often, so it's something to enjoy, that's for sure. Come on, let's make one more chance. That was such a beautiful cross from Werner. When he doesn't have to think about it, he's so good as Dorrington finds the ball back to Forster. Dorrington's looked absolutely fine since he came on. He did give one pass away and it led to a disallowed goal, but the fact that that wasn't given will help him. And he looks like a calm centre-back to me as the ball comes to Porro. And he goes back to Dragishin. Tottenham fans singing to Carl Walker-Peters, "You're Spurs and you know you are," which is very cool. The co-com's just talking about how good Archie Gray is. Dear me, Southampton fans holding up a banner asking for Russell Martin to leave their club. It's a bit ridiculous. He's the one who got them up to the Premier League as Forster chips it to Porro. Just over a minute left. He plays a good ball into Kulusevski, who's come deep. And he goes for the big swinging ball out to Werner, but it's easily blocked out. That's a shame. Oh, but they lost it again. Can Decky find Werner? No, he just tries to be a bit too clever there and gives away a foul. Less than a minute left now. I wonder if Russell Martin will be the second Premier League manager this weekend to lose his job. Southampton running at the Spurs defence now. They're in down the left with Walker-Peters. Come on, Spurs. Stay strong here. Chips to the far post. And it should have been a goal, but it's not. Oh, dear. Spurs let their striker get a shot. I don't think it was Armstrong, actually. It's a good dinked cross by Walker-Peters. It goes over Archer's head. I think it might be Fernandez at the back stick. And actually, it's good defending from Archie Gray. Yeah, really important defending from Archie Gray. And that is the end of the game, everybody. And this is my instant match reaction to the Southampton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 5 Premier League game. And this is a game where at the start I said this could be a sliding doors moment for Ange Postecoglou and his side, that this could be the potential equivalent to when Tottenham went to Aston Villa under Maurizio Pochettino, when he was under all sorts of pressure. And if we could do something good, and in that game against Aston Villa, Harry Kane scored from that free kick and it saved Pochettino. Pochettino admitted himself he thought that saved him. Could this be the game where Ange Postecoglou turns it round for Spurs? An away game for the first time in nearly a year, an away game we're expected to win, that we actually do win and we do it comfortably. And we were 5-0 up at half time. It was the most spectacular first half football that Tottenham have ever had in the Premier League, because they've never scored 5 goals in the first half of a Premier League game before. And to be honest, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through that first half because it was so fun. And then really Tottenham just took their foot off the gas completely in the second half. And I can understand why. We've got Manchester United in the Carabao Cup on Thursday. We've got Liverpool in the weekend. And then we've got Nottingham Forest. So there are more important battles ahead. But that first half was so good. The first minute, unbelievable from Jed Spence, who was making his first start for Tottenham Hotspur. And the first thing he does in the game, he's given the ball facing his own goal around the halfway line in the inverted fullback role, right back. And he takes it on the half turn, beats the first man, then drives away from two other Southampton players, goes narrow, and then with the outside of his boot plays a perfectly weighted through ball to James Maddison, who finishes it beautifully. 1-0 Tottenham, first minute of the game. The rest of that first 5-10 minutes or so, very comfortable for Spurs. Won our first corner in the 8th minute, having won the ball high from Southampton, which we were doing time and time again in that first half. That was really the key to that first half, winning the ball high endlessly. Southampton could not cope with our press. Sonny had a shot in the 9th minute straight at the keeper, just as I'm watching now. Ange Postecoglou and the Spurs players applauding the fans. And Daniel Levy's there as well, the overlord, watching over. Oh, my God, watching over his minions. And then in the 11th minute, 2-0, Son Heung-min, which is huge. He got his goal, absolutely huge, as he's been in a bit of a bad run of form. And it was beautiful. Maddison got a cross from the far post in on the right. It's just deflected to the far post. Sorry, the cross is from the right-hand side. The ball is deflected off a Southampton player's head at the near post, and it comes all the way across to Son from the at the far post from the left, and he finishes it nicely on his left foot on the half volley. Then in the 13th minute, 3-0, Decky Kulusevski, James Maddison with a beautiful ball over the top from deep, and Sonny is in down the left. He gets to the byline, and then it looks like Solanke's going to tap it in within the 6-yard box, but it's decent defending. But the rebound comes to Decky Kulusevski, who just slots it into an empty net. Then in the 17th minute, Southampton had their first chance. Armstrong with a free header straight at the keeper. It was actually a beautiful cross with the outside of the boot from Tyler Dibbling, who looks like a really exciting young player. 20th minute, Maddison had a shot over the bar. It came from a little bit of a clearance that came to him about 18 yards out. I was sure he was going to hit it first time straight into the net, but instead he took a touch and tries to bend a shot with his right foot into the far left-hand corner, but it goes over and wide. Then the 24th minute, absolute dreamland, 4-0, Pape Matar, Destiny Udogie down the left was unbelievable. Drove from the left-back slot, narrow, beat a load of men, and then Sonny passes the ball across the box, and as Pape Matar is driving into the box, he takes his first touch beautifully into the box, and his second touch beats a Southampton defender, and then with his left foot finishes it into the middle corner of the net. Udogie, unfortunately, injured in that period of play, and as a result, had to go off a couple of minutes later, which is, of course, very worrying. How many more injuries are we going to get? That is the only thing. I've said it before, I'll say it again. That's the only thing that I worry about when it comes to Ange Postecoglou. It cannot be coincidence that the players are getting so many muscle injuries, and something has to change in terms of the training, because obviously the amount of games and the fatigue is really making those players suffer. I can only hope that Udogie's injury is more of a precautionary thing. They took him off and he just felt something that actually he'll be fit for that Manchester United game in the week. In the 29th minute, Lucas Bergvall, who made his first start for Spurs today, got booked. He, for me, is a raw talent. He needs to be polished, but he always wants the ball. He's brave on the ball. He's always showing for it, and he will become a great player for Spurs. It'll take time, but really exciting. I thought he did well. 33rd minute, Sonny was through from a transition, and it showed his confidence that he took his left foot shot early, and it was tipped over by McCarthy. So that's really good news that Sonny's confidence is back. 37th minute, an amazing tackle from Radu Dragusin, who had a good game, stopped a through ball, which would have put Armstrong through one-on-one. Then in 39th minute, Armstrong should have scored for Southampton. It should have been 4-1. They got to the byline on the left, crossed it, and Armstrong was in that kind of classic Brennan Johnson position, tries to side foot it first time into the bottom corner, but it goes wide, and we were fortunate. Son had a shot at the near post in the 42nd minute, which he probably should have crossed, and that was saved by McCarthy, although the ref didn't give a corner inexplicably. Then the 44th minute, maybe the pièce de résistance of this half, even though it didn't quite lead to a goal. Tottenham were in their own left-back position, right by the corner flag, just playing it around, popping it about, very, very brave. Classic Ange ball, trying to pull on the press. And I said it when they were under pressure. I was like, if they manage to get out of this and score from here, it'd be one of the great goals. And they actually did. And in the end, it came to Son in the box on his left foot. He had so much more time than he thought. And in the end, he ended up just hitting a weak left foot shot that was kind of slightly caught under his body, straight at the keeper. And then in the added minutes of the first half. James Maddison scores the 5th, 5-0. Beautiful ball down the line from Son with the outside of his boot. Madders gets to the byline, and instead of crossing first time, he sells the Southampton players for a hot dog, cuts it onto his right foot, and then beautifully finishes it into the top right-hand corner. It was kind of the exact goal that he was trying to score against Bournemouth when we almost, well, we needed it more, frankly, and it just went wide and over. But this time he finished it, and that was the last of the scoring. The second half, listen, we let Southampton have a lot more of the ball. We won it up high a couple of times and could have done more, but they really took their foot off the gas, and I understand it. I do. I understand it because we got so many goals, and I don't have and I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. In terms of our performance today, Fraser Forster made the saves that he should have made look pretty easily. Pretty easy. He was decent in the air, and I've been so impressed with Forster since he's come in for Vicario. It just shows we do not see training every day. We don't know what's going on, and he is a more than able deputy to Vicario. Jed Spence, I mentioned him already, but for me, a 9 out of 10 performance. He was brilliant at right back, did that amazing assist in the first minute, just looked so comfortable. I said it all throughout the watch-along. Maybe Spence is one of those players who you hear other professionals talk about, where they're like, he's not great at training. He's like pretty laissez-faire about it. It's frustrating, but when you play him in a game, he just looks so comfortable, so brave on the ball, and he's a big, strong boy as well, so helps us in the air. I think he needs to get a lot more minutes, and I think I have to say, I think Ange Postecoglou leaving him out of that Europa League team is something that he should come out and say, I regret. I made a mistake there. Because Spence was outstanding today. He had to move to left back because of Udoghi's injury, and he did brilliantly, both at right and left. Very, very exciting. Maybe some of the best news that Tottenham have had during a very difficult time. Udoghi showed his worth with that brilliant bit of play for one of the goals as well. Let's, like I said, just hope that he's not that injured. Archie Gray just looks like a Rolls Royce wherever he plays. He's so calm. He's so composed. He's only 18 years old. What a player. Pape Matar, I said before this game, he needed to have a big one. With such a young team out, with Bergvall alongside him, he needed to show his engine. He's the only player in that central midfield who could play or kind of show any kind of defensive nature, really. And he ran all day, Sar. He's got 6 lungs, I think, Pape Matar. And I've said it for a couple of years now, and I'll keep saying it. I really think he has everything in his locker to become the next Patrick Vieira. And maybe the only thing he doesn't have that Vieira had is that kind of bite, but I think he will grow physically still, and I think he will get stronger, and I also think he will add more goals. He did get a goal, but he'll add more goals into his play. But that break into the box showed exactly what Vieira used to be like. Really fantastic and very composed when he got in there as well. Bergvall, I've talked about, a rough diamond, clearly an incredibly talented footballer, and I'm so pleased he got his first start for Spurs, and I think he did really well all game. Maddison, man of the match, 2 goals, beautiful stuff. Kulusevski tried, worked throughout, but it didn't come as simply for him today, but he did well. Solanke just held up the ball beautifully throughout the game. Didn't really, other than that one chance that ended up with Kulusevski's goal, didn't have anything clear cut, so no problems, and he was able to get a bit of a rest at the end as well. And Sonny, beautiful stuff. His confidence is back, and that will bode so well for Tottenham Hotspur going forward. And if we're going to do anything this season, we are going to need a fit and a happy and a confident Son Heung-min. And I have to mention, off the bench, Pedro Porro did well when he came on because of Udoghi's injury. And Alfie Dorrington made his first start for Tottenham, 19 years old. He had one shaky moment where he gave the ball away and they scored a disallowed goal. But actually, he recovered from that moment well because he didn't go chasing it backwards into his own box and keep them onside. He kept his 18-yard line with his other defenders, and that was vital in him being in that goal being disallowed for offside. Brennan Johnson came on, probably should have scored one, although it would have been given offside anyway. And Werner was Werner, gave the ball away a couple of times, but then also once broke down the left and hit in a beautiful cross. So listen, I can tell you this. I was not expecting Spurs to win 5-0 at the St Mary's tonight. I was worried. So let's take our W where we can. Let's enjoy tonight. And let's hope we can take that confidence into the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Thursday night against Manchester United, because that is a game we need to win. United have got a big win today in the Manchester derby, in a game that apparently they didn't deserve really anything from at all. They just kind of hung in there. And on Thursday night, we need the fans behind the team, and we need to blow away Manchester United early. That's what we need to do. We need to do to them similar to what we did to Southampton today. And if we can win that game, then maybe then we can go into that Liverpool game and think, let's shake things up a little bit in the Premier League here and go on a little bit of a run as we head towards January and hopefully starting to get the likes of Van der Ven and Ben Davis back and some of those other injuries as well. Anyway, that's been my instant match reaction, guys. Really appreciate you watching and listening. On Chris's channel, guys, I am now going to grab my headphones and we're going to talk to some Spurs fans from around the world. And for once, not since the Manchester City game have I been looking forward to talking to other Spurs games, other Spurs fans after this. Let me just see who I've got in my green room. Let me have a look. Who is going to be first? Let's go to Luke. Are you there, Luke?
Oh,
There you are. Can you hear me, mate?
I can hear you.
Yes, Luke. How are you feeling after that game, my boy?
Relief, because I thought there was potential for that being another banana skin, but it was very quickly. I was very quickly proven wrong, so that's good.
Is there any sense with you, Luke, that because we didn't get any goals in the second half, it doesn't feel quite as exciting as it would have done had we maybe scored, 2 in the first half and 3 in the second?
No,
and that's
sorry, go on.
No, go on. No, go on.
I was going to say exactly the opposite, actually, because a lot of the noise you hear at the moment about Ange's style is that game management is a problem, and I think that's what we did today. And it's easier at 5-0, isn't it? But I thought, take your foot off the gas, relax a bit. I don't want to see anyone going down, getting injured. I'm happy to not see any goals in the second half. Even if it was 3-0, I'd still prefer to see a very calm performance where we try to keep the ball if we can, but stay tight. And they did that in the second half. And that's something people have criticised Ange for. And I think we saw the opposite.
And Luke, I hear it's your birthday today. A good birthday present from Ange. How are you feeling about Ange and the incoming matches? Does this give you more confidence, or do you think it's papering over the cracks?
No, I think, funnily enough, I think if you look at the games we've done well in this season, we've done well against teams who have come out at us, teams who actually attack us, and I think you can see it in Southampton. They want to play that way, and it's not really working. And they tried that tonight and got quite badly exposed. So, the quality of Liverpool's at the moment is a little bit frightening, but I'm quite happy to see a team come at us, because if you look at the games we've lost, bar maybe Chelsea and Brighton, the other games were against teams that just kept men behind the ball and counter-attacked us, frustrated us, and nicked goals. I mean, we've only lost, I think, by one goal in every defeat this season. So it's been consistently tight. So I'd almost rather play a team that wants to come at us and thinks they can beat us, actually.
Okay, and let's talk about that Man United Carabao Cup game on Thursday. How are you feeling about that?
I'm going to be there, so I'm excited about that. But I'm not sure, because I think they are a bit like us, in that you don't know what you're going to get really when they kick off. But I think, to be honest, we should really be winning that game, or looking to win that game at home. But it's going to be a tricky game, because I think they'll definitely have their tails up after that performance today. Like you said, perhaps they weren't the most dominant side, but in a cup competition, late goals and a late flurry is all you need to get through, and they have a lot more experience with that, I think, than some of our players do. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a tough game, actually.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough, because I didn't watch much of the game today of Man United's, but I did watch a couple of the early games under Amorim, and it's very Conte ball-esque. It's very, obviously, not just because it's 3-4-3, but it's also very much like we're happy to soak up the pressure and then try and hit you with our more attacking players. So that's why I kind of said at the end of my match reaction there, I really want the fans to make it a proper 12th man at the stadium, because listen, we know that the fans are absolutely desperate for silverware, and we have this big stadium, and we need to make it intimidating in these big games, because if we don't do that, then we can't all be upset when the players don't come up in these big games. So I personally think for the rest of our season, it's so huge, and certainly for Ange's future, because he's teetering a little bit in terms of the fans' thoughts on him. And if he can get us through to the final, then that could really give him some collateral, especially if he was able to win it, obviously.
Yeah, I think that as a club, United have this thing that a lot of the pundits talk about, and no one can really ever put their finger on exactly what it is. But it's an ability to win those sort of games and then go through and win finals. And they've won, I think, arguably 2 finals in the last few years that maybe they shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
And it means they keep ticking over with silverware, and that's been our problem when we've come up against these tests. We've failed a lot, and. But I think you're absolutely right. If the fans turn up, which I'm absolutely sure they will, then there's no reason why we shouldn't be winning that game with the performance we put in against them at Old Trafford earlier in the season.
Yeah, totally. And because 2024 is about to come to an end, and hopefully Chris told you that he wanted me to ask you this question, have you got some favourite and worst moments of watching Spurs in this calendar year?
Yeah, I do. I think they're all fairly recent, actually, as well, because I sort of had quite an open mind last season, and I was just intrigued to see what was going to happen with Ange, and what was a massive shift from very defensive and negative football for quite a few years. But this season, I think that's where those moments have stuck in my mind. So the best ones, I would start with seeing Mikey Moore take on 4 or 5 Alkmaar players and just have them on toast, and then whip a ball into the box for Johnson. Made me think, whatever goes on with Ange, or with other things, with Levy or whatever, people think we've got some young talent that's really exciting, and that's a future that's worth looking forward to, regardless of what happens. So that was great. Just to add another one in, I also loved seeing Dom Solanke chip Martinez, I think 2 days after he got Goalkeeper of the Year award. I thought it couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke, so I enjoyed that. Worst moment, probably actually fairly recently, was the Brighton game. And the reason being, I just thought it was a strange one in terms of the quality of football we see Tottenham play, particularly this season when they're at their best, be cancelled out by a greater level of desire. And the Brighton players at full time saying all Hotspur said to us at half time was, "You've got to want it more." Yeah. And to think that anyone could go out and want it more than you is quite damning, really, because that's not about tactics at all. That's about your attitude. And I thought, oof, that worries me a bit, because we could be exposed by teams who just want it more than us. And it has happened since then as well. So I think it was a bit of a worrying moment. So that's definitely the one that sticks in my mind.
Mate, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Let's talk after another game, and let's hope. I think this is the first time we've talked, isn't it, Luke? So hopefully you are the reason why we won, and we'll win every single time that you call in afterwards.
Cheers, Barnaby. Thanks.
Top man. Have a good night, mate. Appreciate it. Happy birthday as well.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, next I am going to go to Perth, Australia, and Shai. Can you hear me? And is that the correct way to pronounce your name?
Yeah, you got it bang on. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm just in a pub in Salzburg at the moment, so there's a bit of background music.
That's what I like to hear, Shai. I like to hear that you're in the pub. Wait, did you say you're in Salzburg?
Yeah, so I'm over from
no,
I'm over from Australia, traveling Europe at the moment for like 2 months, and I'm kind of in and out of London because it's a bit more cheaper to travel and stay in a hotel in London. So I'm kind of in and out of the UK for the game. So I've actually been to a few of the games recently, and I'm going to be back on Thursday for United. And so I'm in.
What did you think of tonight? What did you think of tonight?
Well, I'm just happy that the curse is over for me, because since I'm being in the UK, or since I've been over in Europe, we actually haven't won a game. And I was getting like GoFundMe pages kind of from my guys in Australia to get me back to Australia, because I honestly swore like that for as long as like I was here. Like I was in Vienna the other 2 days ago watching the game, and it was 1-1, and thank God I was surrounded by Rapid Vienna supporters who also lost. So kind of a nice, nice solemn environment. But no, tonight was. I honestly I missed like 2 of the goals because I was just like looking away, and I just couldn't believe it. Like it was just a needed performance. I think that it was so much criticism over Ange, and I'm not going to go on because I didn't know Ange from the last 10 years or so. I only really knew about it since Celtic and that. So it's not because I'm Australian, but I just think that it just takes a bit of that, that just slight criticism away from Ange and the whole storyline. I'm being so convinced of it recently is that that Conte interview just sings. It's like changing the manager is going to do nothing. Like it's showing it, and I think that it's exactly what he needed. So yeah. And it was excellent.
And how much excitement does the fact that we played so many young players tonight and they were able to kind of handle the pressure of not only a Premier League away tie, but a Premier League away tie when there's so much stress around the club as well. I personally think that will just bode so well for the future, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, look, I think it's really good that they did. I think it's a necessary evil in a way. Like, it's not what we want at the end of the day, throw all these young kids in there. But I think, again, I think the fact that even Jed Spence started shows, people are Angela listening to, anyone he's like, okay. And it was great. Like, I think I don't know, like, I'm just so, he speaks so well with that. I'm not here to sing it. Like, I know he's got his faults and stuff, but it's like, as he said, it's like, it's not the ideal situation, but I think it's great. Like, Bergwell or Bergwell, as Alistair Gold apparently says it's meant to be said. He played excellently. I think Gray, I thought he put up with an injury at the end. Actually, I was like, oh God, not another one. But he's playing really well. I think it's difficult. Everyone says, oh, Gray's £40 million, this and that. But I was speaking to someone at the pub today, actually, and I'm like, he's only £40 million because City were going to pay 30 million for him, and then if they got them, he would have said he's some sort of wonder kid. So we actually, we did the right thing, but unfortunately, we then need to go spend that 50 or 60 million on another Solanke or someone else. So I think, the value is only what we're willing to pay for him. But again, he's showing great quality. I think having Alfie Dorrington and I think Lancashire came on as well. But as Ange said, how many 18-year-olds are starting games regularly? Yeah. It's mental. Like, I literally only 2 players I knew off our bench. I think really were anyone who would have. I knew of them, but like other Brennan Johnson and who else? Werner. And Pedro Porro.
Oh, and Werner.
And Werner, sorry, yeah, Werner. Like the rest of them, if you ask any other fan, any of these fans that doesn't watch Tottenham, not a clue. Like, oh, Ledley King's back? No, that's a different game. With that desperate ring, yeah.
And you mentioned Jed Spence, and I was just flicking over. They're just showing
the
replay of his run for the first goal in the first minute. To me, let me know what you think, because I said this a couple of times in the watch-along. Could he just be one of those players who maybe doesn't really do it in training in the same way and maybe looks a little less fair? Because when he plays in games, he's clearly incredibly brave, composed. Also, he's a big guy and he's strong, and that helps us in the air as well. I think he's a really exciting player.
I'm laughing because I know I'm not probably another channel, but if you listen to Fighting Cock and ask what they think Jed Spencer's doing in the background, then like something, he's got to be doing something. But it's like, no, honestly, I don't understand. I think again, as you said earlier with Fraser Forster, we don't know what goes on in training. We don't, we don't know if something's happening there with what they present to the media one way. I think every time he's come on, he's shown that he is great, and I think that. But again, at the end of the day, like, it's like anything in life. We're all kind of like supporters, and all of us, we know so little compared to the people in the everyday workings of it. And if you want Andrew, you want Andrew, and whatever, you've got to try to believe that someone who's managed for 20, 30 years, he's not playing someone. I mean, look what we did to Gareth Bale. He plays on the left. 10 years ago, and then we all every supporter would just shut up. It's very much like we really don't. I'm not knocking out saying it's great having me. We don't know what we're talking about half the time with it. So I don't think we actually know. It's not like he's a club signing it. That Conte went on about, and that was it something. But at the end of the day, I'm also like, who cares? Like he's on. He did great. Like. Long may continue, because now Udogie is hopefully not out for too long. It's we need everyone. So
For me, I think just one of the real positives tonight is just, I feel hopefully now we can just lay to rest for a little bit more this kind of away form thing, and also this Postecoglou, is going to leave thing, and just let's try and, like you said at the beginning, or maybe it was a previous caller, we've got these games now coming up against teams who hopefully are going to come at us a bit more, and therefore we can hit them, and we just need to go on a run, and this run needs to coincide with when these players are coming back. So what do you think we can do in the next few games? Do you think, is that possible to go on a run that we need?
Look, I think we're about as predictable as the weather, like in terms of, we don't know. We're playing United in a Carabao Cup game. I'm really hopeful that I would be there as well, and may the curse end. But for me, the league, it's important that we just keep showing fight in that with it. I think we just need to show some consistency, but also, and I hate using the injuries because it sounds like you're an old whingy. But as we said, look at it, like 9 players from the spine of our team is out in general. Like, and I know that it looks like on paper with the front three he has a strong side, but like Gray, it's the 3rd position that he's playing in. Dragerson was all but not playing one game. Fraser Forster is half retired and he's doing fantastic for us. Like it's I don't know is the answer, and I think that and again I just hope with someone like United, which probably going to say, I hope with United it's not a matter of character. Like I just hope, like if we don't win, like we obviously don't want to, it's not a matter of mentality or character. It's a matter of like a wonder goal from them. Or, obviously I want us to win, but it's like I think that's the biggest thing, is that we need to, Andrew made a very good point earlier. He's like, well, it's a mentality thing, this and that. Well, that's excuses for it, but also it's pretty prevalent as well. Like, and that's what I'm just hoping for. The performances just don't show a weak mentality, because that's what is the most difficult part.
Totally agree. Well, listen, Shai, it's been great to talk to you, and let's talk again maybe when you're in London or back in Australia or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks. And cheers for the good work as well, Chris, and everything. It's brilliant.
Top man. Enjoy your rest of your night, mate. Have a good one.
All right. Cheers, man.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys, just to say, I know, Liam, you're in the green room. If you could put your camera on, and I will come to you after the next caller. But the next caller is, in fact, going to be Harry. Let me bring you in, Harry. How are you, mate?
Good. Thank you, Barnaby. How are you?
Yeah, just a relief to be able to talk to you after a better performance. Let me know your thoughts on it. What did you think?
I'm delighted, to be honest. I mean, I am also relieved, like you. I did have a horrible feeling it was going to be a repeat of Bournemouth and we were going to lose 1-0. But I thought, I saw Spence, I saw Bergevall, I saw players that don't usually get starts, and I thought they're going to be more up for it than if Toro started. Spence wants to prove himself to get more game time. Bergevall knows that he's grown in confidence, and I'm really impressed with Bergevall lately. So I'm really impressed with the result. I mean, I would have liked a few more goals in the second half, but the previous people that have been on here are right. I'd rather us relax a bit more than risk any injuries and see out a 5-0 win, which is perfect. It couldn't be asked for anymore. Yeah,
completely agree. For me, I mean, I guess we've talked about Spence. I want to talk more about him, but let's talk about James Maddison, who was given player of the match. And, he's one of the many players who've been copping a bit of flack from those Spurs fans who are looking for scapegoats at the moment. But it was good for me to see him really trying to take the game by the scruff of the neck and get into that kind of quarterback role and lead the team from there. What did you think?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, I think Maddison's a player that can be hot and cold. 1 week, like we saw at the Etihad, he was unbelievable, involved in everything, scoring 2 goals. And the same tonight. I mean, he I don't know if he picks and chooses, but, nights he'll turn up and he'll steal the show. He'll be the main man. And I believe, surely he got man of the match tonight, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, and that's obviously, that speaks for itself. He was brilliant. I mean, the second finish, unbelievable. I mean, he completely sat the defender down, and then it was a really tight angle, fired into the top corner. But yeah, no, it was a good cameo for Maddison. But not only Maddison, the whole team. Like we saw Son, as you mentioned earlier, the first time passing. We see what happens when we pass first time. Well, when we pass first time, that's the main thing that it's so frustrating. We take 3 or 4 touches instead of taking 1, 2 maximum, and we see what happens. For the Kulusevski goal, Son put in a first-time cross. They couldn't deal with it, and we scored another one. So the first-time passing is a massive thing for us.
Are you confident that these players are all behind the manager at the moment? Because some people I've been speaking to think that some of them are and some of them aren't, and that maybe some of the players might have been a bit pissed off with the way that Big Ange treated Werner, for instance. But for me, I've never seen anything that's wavered, certainly on the pitch, in terms of their support for the manager. And then the second thing is that all the leaks coming out of the club are that there is support for the manager, whereas usually when the rats are deserting the sinking ship at Spurs, it comes out the usual old, oh, they're being trained too hard and all that stuff. But there's none of that, seemingly.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think a few days ago, Dragusin came out and he said that he's really enjoying his new defensive role, because obviously at Genoa it was a bit different. It was a lot more calm and relaxed, but obviously with us we are one touch, like playing out the back, risky stuff. And he said that he's enjoying his football. Romero, I think, in that the bit where he came out and slated the board and slated Levy, he did include in there that, again, he likes the football and that he trusts. I think he said that the players trust Ange as well, so it's a collective thing. But no, I think the players 100% back Ange. We saw after the Rangers game, people were rumouring that Son was ignoring him, but actually no, he was talking to Dragusin instead. I mean, you saw Son's relief when he scored that second goal. I think someone was almost kind of trying to tell the Spurs fans that we are on the right track and this is how much it means to us. So I think if the manager was, if there were rumours that Ange was falling out with the players, there wouldn't have been that sort of pure relief and almost frustration in a good way when Son scored that goal, because it was just brilliant.
Yeah, I completely agree. And now looking ahead to the Carabao Cup game against Manchester United in the week, how many of those players that started today? So, for instance, I'm thinking about Bergvall and I guess Spence. I mean, I guess the Spence one's interesting because it's likely that Udogie, if he really felt something, won't play. But do you think Bergvall will start, or do you think he'll bring Basuma straight back in?
It's difficult. Obviously, United are, as we saw today, they've got it in them that they can snatch a win. They can play almost pretty much like Conte style for the majority of the game, but when they want to, they can completely transform and score a couple of goals. So I think he will bring Basuma back in for a bit of stability, because obviously United are more of a threat than Southampton, obviously, and Rangers. So I think we'll have Sarr, Basuma, Maddison as our midfield three, but we could see Bergvall being introduced a bit later on if we need any creativity. But I think if we want to boost Bergvall's confidence, I would start him against United, because starting for the first half, if he hasn't impressed, then we can always bring on Basuma to offer a bit more stability for the second half. And then I think, Udogie went off. He was kind of shaking his head when he went off, but apparently wasn't it just a small back injury? I think I read Opta Sports.
I hope so, but I saw him pointing to his thigh.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that, but hopefully not. But I think, we've seen tonight that Spence can cover. He can come on, but he can play brilliantly on the right and the left. I think earlier in the season as well, when we beat United 3-0 at Old Trafford, Spence came on at half-time and he was solid, a left-back on his weakened position. Yeah. Obviously, he's naturally a right-back, but he's brilliant at left-back. And then we've got Porro for the right, or Porro and Spence can swap around as well if they feel need be. So I think we'll be all right in that respect. And then Gray, I mean, he's brilliant. He's only 18, but he can play anywhere. And he's so composed, like you said earlier. So I think it'll be a similar starting 11 on Thursday.
Yeah, and exciting as well. Even though he had that misplaced pass when he came on, I thought Alfie Dorrington looked another calm kind of player who looked comfortable on the ball. There were a couple of occasions I was very impressed with him because he played kind of slightly more dangerous balls when he could have just done it easy. And I think that bodes well, especially he's more built like a centre half. So that's another exciting option for further down the line.
100%, yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I thought. I mean, I think he was in the corner at one point, and he played like a calm ball back to Forster. He didn't kick it out or rush himself. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. And then the risky. I mean, it's weird, but he looks like he knows exactly what the game plan is when he comes on. Playing those risky balls out. That's what Ange wants. So if he can follow Ange's simple instructions, then I'm sure he's going to start to get more minutes on this side. And I did feel a bit. I say a bit of shame for him. I did a bit in terms of I thought he could have had a start today, because obviously he is a natural centre half, whereas Gray it was obviously a midfielder. So I thought it's a bit unfair that he can't be given a start from right from the beginning. But he came on and showed that later on down the line he can if we need be. But I think we'll definitely see more minutes of Dorrington. I mean, I don't think we'll see him start against United obviously on Thursday. But again, towards the end, if we're winning comfortably, then we can definitely bring him on and trust him that he can see out the win. Hopefully.
Yeah, and. Because 2024 is coming to an end, your favourite and worst moments watching Spurs this year?
I think my worst would unfortunately be that spell towards the end of last year where we lost to Newcastle, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea in a row. That was awful because it was obviously 4 hard. I mean, we took it to heart, those 4 defeats. They were hard to accept, especially in the Arsenal game. We were 3-0 down, and we came back to 3-2, and we all believed. Chelsea, it was awful, as it always is at Stamford Bridge. Newcastle again was poor, and Liverpool, we left it too late. To go 4 goals down, get 2. We started to believe again, but unfortunately, it was too little, too late. So that would be my worst. And then I think the best would be our performances away in Manchester this season. The clean sheets at United and City, 7 goals scored in 2 games in Manchester against City and United. So, yeah, those performances were probably our 2 best of the season. And it shows, again, to all the people that are a bit sceptical over Ange, that when we play our football, we are hard to stop. And we've seen it tonight. It was pressing. It was one-touch football. I mean, and the point I want to make tonight to all the people that are, again, sceptical over Ange's future, you're 5-0 on a clean sheet without Vicario, Romero, Van der Ven, Richarlison, Audebert, the list goes on.
Bentancur,
Bissouma. Yeah. So I still back Ange, and I said it last time when I came on. I'm going to say it again. Ange is the man for this job.
Yeah, I agree. Harry, let the audience know where they can see your stuff, mate.
Over on Spurs Direct on Instagram. We posting videos up there, content, all that sort of stuff over on the Instagram Spurs Direct. A follow would be greatly appreciated.
Top man, Harry, and I'll speak to you hopefully after another win during the week against Man United. Have a great night.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Top man. Okay, just before I bring Liam in, let's go into the comments and see what people are saying. Andrew said Udogie wanted to play on, but he didn't want to risk him. That's really good news. That's very exciting. Stephen says, just coming back from the game, what a win. Come on, you Spurs. William Webb plays 100% behind Ange. They love the style and freedom. Mevd 2011 says 5-0 up, foot off the gas, mate. Let's see, what else have we got? George C. AV says, Ange ball is yet to really click at Spurs, but for the negative, try non-sporters. Look at our goal difference, which without looking leaves us 3rd in the league. Small losses, big wins, frustrating, but not all bad. Now, listen, actually, I want to say, I know it sounds weird, but goal difference is usually a really good tell of where a team are. And Spurs, we've had a bad run of games, and obviously we still got a lot of injuries, so I'm not suggesting we're definitely going to go on a run, but we do have it in us this season at some point to go on a mad kind of Liverpool-esque run, and that is, I think, possible. But at the moment, obviously only in 10th place, but better 10th than 13th. Anyway, let's finally bring in Liam. Liam, thank you for being patient, mate. How do you feel? Yeah, really good. How do you feel after that one?
It was a really good performance, 5-0. I thought we actually managed the game quite well by slowing it down in the second half. I do think, though, 5-0 away at Southampton, obviously great result, but we are still 10th. Like, I think I've seen some fans getting quite ahead, really think a 5-0 great result, we can enjoy it, but we're 10th. Now we really do need to use that and push on in the league.
But, I mean, maybe I asked you this the other night, but how do you level that thought with the realities of the injuries? I mean, let me put it this way, and I got some. I did have someone in the comments shouting at me the other day for talking about them lot down the road, but they had one injury in Erdegaard and basically went on a terrible run of results, and we've had 11 or 12, and overall we've had the most amount of injuries, or the second most in the whole season. I think we're up at about 18, 19. So it does have to be taken into account.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah, 100%. I thought the younger players played really well. Bergvall was great. Sarr commanded the midfield. Dorrington, I've actually seen a couple of times play for the under-21s. He's really good at the back, really confident centre-back. I think he'll be a really good player in the future. Yeah, but you have to take into account the injuries. And when they come back, it's just, can we use this to push on now? Now when the injured players come back, they come in, and if we could get a real good run going and the injured players start phasing back in over Christmas and into January, then I think we could really make a push.
Liam, I really hope you're right. And what do you think is the story around Jed Spence? Because he was so impressive tonight, but his first ever start for Spurs, he's been here probably two and a bit years. What do you think the story is there? Is there a possibility that he's just not a great trainer and he's a much better player in the games?
I think he is, yeah. I think if you remember a couple of years ago with Marcus Edwards, they kept saying he had an attitude problem in training. I think just some players don't train well, but they show it on the pitch. And I think, to be honest, that's where you should judge them. Like, if their attitude behind the scenes isn't great, that's obviously not amazing. But if they're going to put in performances on the pitch, that's where it matters. And I think if we have players like Spence or like when we had Edwards, who are good players, then use them on the pitch, give them minutes, because we played Spence tonight and it really worked.
If that is the case, you can really see why Conte had no interest in him then, because if you're a player who only, who kind of, let's say, only gets turned on by actually starting in games and being on the pitch and not by training, then that is the kind of antithesis of what Antonio Conte is all about. But I'm really hopeful. What I really hope, and I haven't seen all the quotes from Ange's press conference, I'm going to try and dig them out in a minute, but I hope that Ange kind of says something in one of his press conferences about Spence, kind of boosts his confidence, because also just not only was he brilliant with the ball and worked so hard coming back as well. Do you remember that one where he just ran the length of the pitch almost to kind of help out his mate who had lost the ball?
Yeah.
But he's a big guy as well, and that will help us in set-piece situations, which is something we've been struggling with.
I think tonight and the Coventry game in the Carabao Cup as well, he came on, he changed that game when he came on. I think he really is an exciting player. And I think if Ange gives him more minutes over Porro, who obviously hasn't been in great form at the moment, but I think that's what breeds a good team. Like having options like that, or Spence or Porro, that's what breeds a winning team. Players shouldn't be guaranteed a place. You should have to fight for that place.
Yes, I completely agree. I just want to bring a stat here. Lucas Bergvall's first half by the numbers: 25 of 26 passes completed, 1 out of 2 successful dribbles, 2 out, both his long ball balls that he tried completed. 1 out of 1 tackle, 2 interceptions, 5 ball recovery. So that was a great first half from Bergvall. He did suffer from a bit of cramp late in the second half, so maybe he was just tiring a bit. But very exciting young player, isn't he? I think
he is. Yeah, I think him and Sarr in the midfield, I thought that was really exciting because they're two really creative players. And going forwards, I think that's really, and as well how Maddison played as well. I think those three, when they're attacking, that can be really exciting. And hopefully we put in more performances with those three in the midfield, and we score goals like we did tonight. Absolutely right. And Liam, before I let you go, what are your kind of favourite and worst moments watching Spurs in the last calendar year? My favourite, I'd probably say, I don't know if you remember, but March, just coming towards the end of last season when we beat Villa 4-0 away. Oh, yeah. I thought that was Maddison with the first goal from Sarr's cross. What a goal. Yeah. I thought that was a complete, just all-round performance, like perfect. Attacking-wise, we managed the game perfectly. Gave nothing away. I thought that was... That and our performances in Manchester, like what Harry said this season. I think it was like, we scored 7 goals in Manchester and haven't conceded. Yeah. This season, I thought they were great. And worst moment, probably quite recently, actually, the Chelsea loss. That one, I think it always hurts losing to Chelsea. But the fact you're 2-0 up and then we concede 4, that was really... That stung. Yeah, that one did, yeah. Liam, thanks for talking to me, mate. Let's talk again, hopefully after a big win in the week against Man United, and we'll be in the semi-final. That's what I really desperately want to happen. I think we will be. I have full confidence we'll beat Man United. Top man, love that confidence. Okay, mate, enjoy your night. Good night. You too. Bye. Yeah. Okay, let's go to patient John. John, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, you.
Yes, mate. So happy tonight. How are you feeling after that 5-0 victory at the St Mary's?
Yeah, to be honest, it wasn't really relief for me. I was very confident before the game. I was expecting at least 3-0. Obviously we blew them away. Within 15 minutes, we were 3-0 up. But yeah, second half, he done the right thing, I think. You know, I said. Do you think? Sorry to interrupt, John. Do you think he actively at halftime said, "Just slow down, just take your rest"? Yeah, definitely. I really do. From a sort of entertaining point of view of watching, you know, it wasn't a great thing to get excited about the second half. But I knew after the first 5 minutes of the second half that this was how it was going to be. They've got to look after themselves. We've got too many injuries. And, you know, you're saying earlier about could we go on a run? I don't think we can with the amount of injuries we've got. You know, strength and depth on the bench just ain't there at the moment, really, to go on a good run against good teams. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I hope you're wrong. What did you think? Just someone we haven't mentioned yet today, Radu Dragoshin. I feel like he's kind of
although he wasn't faced with a lot of stuff, I feel like he's kind of warming to his task a little bit. He's improving on the ball, I think.
I really like him. I mean, he's had to change his game completely. He's man of the match every time he plays for Romania. If I remember rightly, he got in the Euros team of the tournament. You know, he looked great, but that was the old-fashioned defending. And he's had to change his game, and it's going to take him time. But I can only see him getting better and better the more he plays, the more he gets used to playing how he's being told to play.
I've just got a super chat here from Philly Hotspur. It says Madders was man of the match. Spence a close second. Do you agree with that, mate?
Yeah. Talking about Spence, every time I've seen him, when he's come on, he's never put a foot wrong. I believe it is all about his attitude. And I say that because I remember when we were looking at him before we signed him, there was a photo of him in the dressing room when they won the playoff.
That's right.
And he was sitting there. He had the trophy in one hand, the biggest cigar you've ever seen in the other hand, chest out, sitting there like he was Al Pacino out of Scarface. I don't think I like the look of that. I'm not sure I want him. You know, it could be a totally innocent thing, and I could be wrong, but the way he plays when he comes on, that's the only thing I can put it down to. I think it's got to be about the attitude. I think maybe he's come there, thinks he's made it, and he's not putting the proper work in and the attitude, because ability-wise, he looks great.
Yeah. There was another story. There was another story from back then as well, which was that in my head, I think it was Ian Holloway who worked with him at one point. It was a manager, I think, like Ian Holloway, who said, "Oh no, sorry, it was Neil Warnock. That's who it was. Sorry, I was thinking old school managers. It was Neil Warnock who said, "Look, you will either become one of the best, or you will be playing non-league in the next few years." And that was due to his kind of attitude thing. And then also, wasn't there? I think it was just last season he was sent on loan, I think, to Leeds. Wasn't he? And Farker had a go at him as well about his attitude, about being late and stuff. But he seems to have turned it round in terms of impressing Postecoglou enough to get him and give him a new contract. And hopefully that his first start tonight has showed him that he can do it, showed Ange that he can do it. And I would keep him in for now because he's quicker than I expected him to be. And he works. His instinct, which really impressed me, is when his teammate loses the ball and he's caught high up the pitch, he doesn't just watch it. He pegs it back. It happened like 3 or 4 times. Proper sprint back. And actually, if he's in the team and he does that more often, that might inspire some of the other players to sprint as hard as they can back.
Yeah, well, I think he defends better defender than Porro. Yeah, and like with him setting up the first goal tonight, you know, he's good going forward as well. So, you know, he's definitely worth keeping, and definitely worth, if he's not going to start, putting him on. You know, still putting him on in games. He's certainly not a weakness at all.
Yeah, and John, obviously January is only about 15 days away now. What kind of thing, if Spurs are going to spend some money in January, where should we prioritise?
Well, I'm not a massive fan with Werner out on the wing. And to be honest, even though he's done great and scored a lot of goals and he's great at getting on the far post and tapping Johnson, as a winger for me, he doesn't do enough in games. You know, in my day, a winger, when they got the ball and they had the fullback in front of them, it was happy days. You go and take him on. And every time he gets the ball, defenders in front of him, he passes it back. I mean, a lot of them do now, you know, to keep possession. But yeah, I'm not overly impressed with Johnson. I like him. I like his attitude. But yeah,
he'd make an excellent squad option for that position, wouldn't he? Like the player who can bring off the bench if you've got someone who will take on their man a little bit more.
Bring him on with 20 minutes to go, and yeah, he can turn things around. But no, I mean, it's mad to say because he's our top goal scorer this season. Yeah, you don't normally say that about someone who's been put.
No, you don't. Anyway, John, look, I've only got 10 minutes left, so I've got to get a few other people on. But thank you for calling, and I'll speak to you again.
No worries. Cheers.
Hi, mate. Have a good one. Bye. Next up, I'm bringing on Tom. How are you, Tom?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Yes, mate. Thank you for being so patient. So how are you feeling after that one?
Yeah, great win. I thought we played really well. First half, we showed intent, and the players showed, that they're still behind Ange in terms of the way we played. We were so quick and we just completely outrun Southampton in the first half, I think. I saw the stats at half time and it was like 16 shots to 2 or something.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of a first half, I think it was probably our most dominant half. Obviously Southampton are a struggling team and, I think we should take that into account. But I thought we were excellent in the first half. Second half, we were a bit quieter, but I'd rather not risk the injuries, even though we might have some potential injuries. I'd rather do that than rather shut up shot a bit than get more injuries. So I'm happy with the result, and we move on. Hopefully we get some consistency now.
Yeah, agreed. And I've been saying a little bit all day or all evening, this could be a sliding doors moment for Ange Postecoglou. Is there a possibility that this could be, the result that pushes us to kind of maybe end that whole Ange in, Ange out stuff and really just focus on the season that a lot of us, to be fair, a lot of fans said they wanted, which was, a season where they don't care that much about the league, but really want to put all our eggs in the cup basket?
Yeah, I think the game on Thursday is so key, because I think, if we just get a cup run together, whether that's in the Europa League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, I think that's what's going to really get the fans behind Ange and, connected with the club again. I think the league, we've been there before. We've qualified for the Champions League before. And I don't think we'll qualify this year. But I think, the game on Thursday is key for me. And obviously, we all know the importance of winning something this year. But I think in terms of consistency, I think it's not changed my opinion, because, we've got results like this against teams that, try to play play possession-based football, try to, press us and have left gaps. I think, it's been a story of our season so far. And we've got some tough games coming up. So Liverpool at home next. We just got to hope that we do get some consistency in the league. Do you think,
Tom, do you think that Man United, sorry to interrupt, but do you think that Man United in that Carabao Cup game will basically try and play pretty low block like some of the teams we've really struggled against?
Yeah, I think so. I think, teams like that, like with Amorim. I remember when we played Amorim under Sporting, I remember even when we had Conte, they were quite defensive. I think we know what sort of game we've got on our hands, but we just got to be clinical. And I think that they are there for the taking. They've not been on good form. Yes, they beat Man City, but everyone's beating Man City these days. We've just got to show the desire that we showed today, and I think hopefully we'll give ourselves a chance, like we did. For me, the game where we all know how pragmatic Villa are, for example, that they can be defensive, but look at the way that we pulled them apart in the second half and beat them 4-1. So I think we can do it against these more defensive teams.
Do you know what? Stuart Wheeler in the comments has just made a really good point. He says, what is promising is that Ange called out a player publicly and they responded rather than throwing him under the bus, called out the players publicly. I agree with him. I think that is a good point. And again, just to show that I think the players are still playing for him, because that's usually an absolute no-no. And where if they want a manager gone, they'll use that as the opportunity.
Yeah, and it's so obvious that they're still behind him. And you normally start getting the leaks in the media and like through the ITKs that the players are starting to turn, but you can tell the players are still playing for him. And you just got to hope that eventually that leads to consistency. I think I was happy he called Werner out, because I think you've got to be ruthless as a manager, and Werner's earning something like 200 grand a week, and he needs to show up, and we need players like him to contribute, or we're going to struggle. So I think it was good that Ange called him out. And to be fair, he didn't call him out. He was just asked about his performances. So sometimes things get misinterpreted in the media and stuff like that. But
okay, and Tom, just before I let you go, what are your kind of favourite and least favourite moments of 2024 watching Spurs?
There's been a lot of bad moments. I think overall this year, there's been a lot of bad results. But for me, I think the really bad one was the Bournemouth game this a couple of weeks ago, because I think it was just inevitable as soon as we conceded that set piece and as soon as they started creating those chances and, you know, having loads of shots, it was obvious we were going to lose. But for me, it was the moment after the game when, you know, the fans were a bit angry at Ange. I'm not annoyed at the fans for that, because I think it's completely justifiable. But I think it just shows overall, you know, over time, how difficult the results have been throughout this year. But yeah, in terms of a good moment, I think it was that second half against Villa. I think the way we played, the way we bullied them was really good. So yeah.
Top man, Tom. Listen, thank you so much for calling in, mate. Let's talk again after hopefully a victory on Thursday night, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Yeah. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. And last but by no means least tonight, the very patient Steve, one of my regulars. Steve, thank you so much, mate. We've got about 4 minutes. I want to hear how you feel about finally a good win for Ange and the boys.
Yeah, I'm obviously delighted. I was a bit nervous before the game. I wasn't sure, you know, what team was going to turn up for us, but it was, you know, the first goal was an absolute shock. It was for a lot of people, I would imagine. Yeah, and as you mentioned, Spence was fantastic. I was thinking, like, you know, I knew who he was, but I was thinking, I mean, he just tore into the box and laid it off, and great finish. And then within another few minutes, within 12 minutes, we scored again, and then the third one, and it was just like, wow, this is you know, it was really pleasing. Lots of good things.
Yeah, Steve, let me know what do you think about Lucas Bergvall then? For me, he's still pretty raw, but I love the fact that he always wants the ball. As a young kid, that's so important.
Yeah, he came close to me as I was watching the game. I was thinking, you know, the way he reads the game quite often in the midfield, especially down the flanks, but also in the middle of the park, he was reading the out ball, chesting it down. But a couple of times he got caught on the ball, which was disappointing. We got dispossessed and they countered. But you know, for his age, he's really come on leaps and bounds with every game. So yeah, very, very impressed with him. Yeah.
I think the important thing with that is that when he's getting caught at the ball, most of the time it's because you can tell he's trying to do what Ange wants him to do, which is to play one more kind of aggressive pass.
Yeah, that's possible. But as I say, very pleased, you know, with his performance, along with several other players, to be honest. I was glad Maddison stepped up, because it was, you know, I've been very disappointed, like a lot of Spurs fans, with him over the last few games. You know, he's sort of not gone missing, but not really producing anything. And the second goal he got, I mean, he was being pulled off his feet. That probably might even have been a penalty if he hadn't managed to get it in. I don't know how he got it in from that angle.
Yeah, beautiful finish.
So that was a beautiful finish, and it's and like the boys have been saying, when I say the boys, everyone else has been on. Obviously, they had to take the foot off the gas in the second half. I would like to have seen 1 or 2 goals. I mean, what's disappointing for me is, not unexpectedly with Werner, but Johnson, even when there's no pressure on, not really being able to do anything in the second half when he came on. So, but I mean, I'm very happy with the overall performance.
Yeah,
but,
Johnson's a very transition-based player, isn't he? He has to have space in front of him.
Yeah, it's doesn't work for him otherwise.
Yeah.
But,
I have to ask you, just before I let you go then, favorite and worst moment in 2024 watching Spurs, Steve?
Very difficult. I would say the way we dismantled Manchester City, you know, to calm the doubters for Ange. It was a fantastic performance. And okay, they were out without their main holding midfielder, but we still played well. I think that was really fantastic, and sort of proved that Ange ball does work even against an extremely good side at home. But unfortunately, the worst for me was the Brighton game, after being, you know, 2-0 up half-time, coasting, and then to throw it all away. I mean, we've done it a few times this season, but that springs to mind as the worst moment for me.
That was a difficult one, but I'm hoping that that'll be the end of the bad moments, and now we can look ahead and hopefully a Carabao Cup semi-final too. Steve, thank you so much for calling in, mate. I've got to let you go now.
Yeah, no problem.
But listen, have a great rest of your Sunday, and you, and I'll speak to you hopefully after beating Man United on Thursday.
Yeah, I'll be up for it.
Top man. See you later. Oh, I cut Steve off a little quickly there, but we're coming to the end of our time on this watch along and the post-match reaction. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate all the comments. Really amazing. Do not forget that in just 5 minutes' time, Craig Dearman will be on Chris Cowlin's channel hosting the Spurs Chat podcast. He's going to be joined by Ricky Norwood, Becky Day, and Carl Jones, and I'm sure they'll all be absolutely ecstatic after that 5-0 win. Also, if you weren't around earlier, we're delighted to announce that the Spurs Chat podcast has been nominated as a finalist at the Sports Podcast Awards 2025 in the category of Best Team Podcast. You can vote for Chris's podcast by clicking on the link in the description box below. Your support would be so appreciated. Get that vote in. The closing date is 13th of January, and the winner is announced on the 30th of January. I will be back with another watch along on Chris's channel on Thursday for this huge Carabao Cup quarter-final at home against Manchester United. I think if we can win that, we can make this a great season. And if we could win that Carabao Cup, I think we could then go on to win the Europa League as well. But we need to hang in there over these difficult months while we've got all of these injuries. But tonight was a great result. 5-0 at any away ground in the Premier League is something to enjoy. So, guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Give me a subscribe on my YouTube channel as well, at Barnaby Slater _. I'm close to 12,000 subs. I'd love to get you all on board for my daily Tottenham content. And yeah, listen, like I said, these kind of results don't come along all that often. So just enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Watch match of the day too. And yeah, roll on Thursday. Come on, you Spurs.